Hello, Swifties and Swift casuals. My name is Jesse Swift, of no relation, of course, and with the encouragement of my wife, I've found myself a bit obsessed with Miss Taylor Swift. Whilst the movie season has slowed down some and we have many busy hosts here on our channel, I've decided what better time, rather, to celebrate Taylor. With breaking theatrical records and a possible romance on the horizon, it's hard not to go a day without seeing Swift in the headlines. Everyone has something to say, and it's not all great. Here, however, I can guarantee fun and frivolity. Yeah, check the source for that one. We will be ranking albums based on preference and vibes. No besmirching from this crowd. All that being said, 1, 2, 3, let's go, bitch!
We can't make any promises now, can we? 'Cause you can make me a dream.
Hello, everyone. I got my guests here with me. Thank you so much for being here. We have Allison Salamoni. Welcome back into the fold. It feels like it's been forever and a half, but possibly, most likely, even longer. Taylor Robinson back over in this side of things, so we're on the same time zone, so I don't really have to twist your arm too hard. Glad to have you over here. The only one that could scrounge up a Taylor Swift shirt. There's one incoming, but it couldn't quite make it here today, but I'm excited about it. But we do have Allison rocking the really awesome folklore aesthetic. I just got Nicole Kidman because every time and always.
Got to. I know. I was actually having the conversation with my sister today. I was like, if you could label me a Taylor Swift era, what would you say I was? And I really wanted her to say folklore and ever because I wanted to wear a comfy flannel and everything. And she immediately...
This setup makes me now really want to know what she did say.
She actually said, and then I started listening to it. She had said midnights because bejeweled and vigilante shit are like my aesthetic, like right down the middle. So I'm like, you're not wrong.
Well, hopefully we get when we get some live viewers and stuff in here, that'd be a fun question to ask.
Yeah.
I like playing the associate stuff with Taylor Swift. Like, I was this close to doing which Mortal Kombat characters align with what Taylor Swift songs. It might be coming. Might be coming up. Taylor, other Taylor, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I've just been doing the normal Sunday ritual, which is watching football. Got up at like 6 in the morning for the London game. So, you know, that's the vibes right now. But
you said London games. Are we talking football or
yeah,
like
NFL? They do a game.
Okay.
They do like a couple games in London, and they sell out like the whole. Forget what stadium they do it, but they sell out like every year, and it's like an insane crowd. But it means, listen, I had to get up at 6 this morning for it. When I was in Australia, that was like a 1 a.m. game. Like, so that was the vibes were bad. Now they're better.
At least you have the option there. I woke up at 6 for no particular reason, but used that spare time to film us a little ad that went out on Twitter. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that monstrosity. What happens when you get caffeine at 6 o'clock in the morning? You get running around in the fog and making goofy Taylor Swift videos.
Perfect.
That's what you got to do. Anyway, I am super excited to get into this. We have so many different fun games and things planned. We don't want to get too far into things before Chris gets here, but one thing I did want to do is kind of just in a brief minute or two talk about everyone's relationship with Taylor Swift, or you know, the Swiftie-isms, being a fan, when you started, how long it's been, what that means to you, because like I am admittingly a fan of like 5 months, you know, so like it's a little bit of a speed catch up here. Let's start with, because it's been so long since she's been on here, Taylor Robinson. What's your Swift story?
Oh gosh, so my Swift story is a very long story. I remember buying her self-titled album from Target in 2006 when it came out. So it's been a long journey that I've been here for all of at this point. And it kind of is that thing where every time she's released an album, I've been like, yeah, this is like when she wrote this was probably when I was going through all of this, because we're pretty close in age. Like she's a little bit older than me, but not by much. So like I always felt like she was kind of writing things as I had gone through them, like with each album that came out.
Yeah, because by the time it comes out, it's like 1
yeah.
or 2 years after it being written. So
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of been my journey. It's been really cool that like it's it feels really unique to have a female artist like this who has been around for so long, but she keeps somehow getting bigger. Like it's just with every album, she's got more popular and has more fans and is continuing to grow as an artist and putting out really diverse albums. And it's just been really cool to be part of that journey, and that it's still going on, especially since now it feels like the music industry is kind of a mess and it's harder to find like artists you can really relate to who are there to actually make music for the right reasons, like because they love making music and they're really talented at it, instead of just like plugging something into a TikTok algorithm and being like, there's an album, have fun with that. So I just want to thank the universe for keeping Taylor Swift around for us at this moment in our time of need. Really appreciate that. Love that for us.
When we needed her, she was there. She didn't disappear like the Avatar. Allison.
Yeah.
What's your Swift story?
I mean, I've always kind of been more of a casual fan with Taylor Swift. I mean, 2006, I was in my second year of my first attempt at college. So I was more into when she was coming on the scene was when I was in the scene. So we're talking like I was into like my pop punk aesthetic era back, when I thought I was really, really cool. But as time's gone on and as I've started to listen to her more and more and hearing, and as each of these albums that have come out, I think 1989 was the first one where I was like, this shit is popping. Right? Like, I think that was the one where I was just like, I love that she started taking the piss out of all the bullshit that people were saying about her. And I'm like, this is cool. I can dig this. And so that's when I really started really listening and really get into it. And then of course we started doing all of her Taylor version is when I went back and really listened to like Fearless, Red, Speak Now, again, other than like what was on the radio. And I'm just like, she's a phenomenal songwriter, I mean, she's talented. She surrounds herself with talented people. She knows what she's doing. And so I love it. There's always something that she's putting out that I can jam to, or I'm excited about, or I'm just like, fuck yes. Like when, especially her revenge shit, like not just like the songs about like the exes, but like even vigilante shit, like those lines in that song. Like as soon as I listened to it on Midnights, I was like, that's my favorite song. So yeah, I just think she's phenomenal. I love how she's constantly, just talking shit about everybody too in certain ways, like when I think one of my favorite moments was for her when she was on the red carpet for like the Grammys or for something, and she's there and she had gone with Selena Gomez, and one of the commentators on the red carpet says, oh, you're gonna be fending the boys off tonight who you may be going home with than a Grammy. And she was like, I'm not going home with them. Like just the way she shuts shit down, I think has and was on top of all of that. Just, I've always loved her for it. So yeah.
To add on to that, I've got to say, like, I have secondhand exhaustion now getting more into, because like now I've fallen in the black hole, right? Like I think like you were saying, but way even more so, I was like less than a Taylor Swift casual. Like I never had a feeling about Taylor Swift. Obviously, I grew up listening to, well, not intentionally, my family is very country heavy. So Taylor came on the scene, right? It was always on the radio and stuff. So I always heard those songs. And then I was listening to some of the more poppy-ish radio stations. So I would hear those Taylor songs, right? And then there was just a gap where just Taylor was not in my peripheral view at all. And I feel like I missed like 4 albums or 5. And then now having like just a 220 songs or whatever on Spotify on repeat, just kind of like burning it into my brain, and watching all these videos, I guess getting back to my original point, seeing everything that she's put up with, and then watching Miss Americana is just, you want to go around throat punching so many people and like leave her alone. We don't deserve Taylor, and the fact that she hasn't like lost her goddamn mind is incredible and inspiring, honestly, especially when it's like, hey, I'm going to give some attention to this football player, and the world loses their shit. I'm like, we have world crisis like right now, like things going on, but, you know, God forbid Taylor spends time with a man.
Right.
So,
But not only that, first of all, she's spending time with a man, which is not allowed. But also,
How dare she?
she's going into their stadiums, right? She's going into the man stadiums and spending time there and having a good time.
She's putting the man on everyone's
map,
radar. She's putting on the map. He was nobody until her.
Technically, they're her stadiums because she sells them out by
I was
herself.
about to say, there's all these people saying like, oh, she's dating Travis Kelce for attention. I was like, she's putting more butts in seats than the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, I need you guys to understand that.
Yeah, no, it's trust. That has been a whole thing where I've been just trying to bite my tongue and not get into internet fights with everybody that I see.
Oh, because anyone that has that opinion isn't worth fighting against because you already know ahead of time that they're not.
Yeah, yep.
But
anyway, she's like one of the strongest women that's ever lived because the fact that she hasn't snapped and like throat punched a bunch of people is really impressive. So,
as she said on Midnights, bend when you can and snap when you have to. All right, so we have our third guest that I'm very excited to bring on. Thanks for being patient, Chris. I know you came in on the middle of this, but we're talking about Swift stories, so I want to hear your relationship with Taylor Swift. What's up, Chris Anthony?
Hello. Hi. My lighting is horrible. What was the question? I already forgot. Did I miss the Travis Kelce prayer circle? I know my man's foot just fell off. But did I miss that?
Oh, I hadn't heard about that.
He hurt himself.
Oh no.
Yeah, he got hurt
well,
a couple, like 30 minminutes ago, and it was a whole thing. And now people on Twitter are like, "See, that's what happens when you date Taylor Swift." I'm like, can we just not? He's a 34-year-old man, and he's at that point in his career where he's gonna get injured. I don't know what to tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like people are more up in arms about him dating Taylor Swift than they were about him doing a reality TV show that was all about dating him.
Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Chris, the question is basically just kind of like, what's your experience with Taylor Swift in a nutshell? It doesn't have to be overly complicated. Minute or two, albums that have popped off in your listenings, and like when you first started listening to her, things like that. Because I feel like you're a Taylor fan, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be here. And you're muted. You're also muted. You're a fan of being muted on the mic.
What the frick? Have I been muted this whole time?
No. Just now.
Okay.
You were there, and then all right.
Okay, great. So how much do I want to embarrass myself right now?
Well, it's okay. So that's something I should have brought up when I did the introduction. Is I think we're all kind of varying levels. Like I'm new but hardcore, right? Like I'm branding it into Taylor Swift, but it's been like fully just like engulfed by it. Mm-hmm. Allison sounds like it's been kind of in various levels, but always very much into. I think Taylor's been there for like the whole ride. And then Chris, I don't know where you're at. You're just like, yo, I'm down. I'm like, great. As long as you're down, you're coming. And so like that's all I know. Wow.
So that's not the breaks, Jesse. Okay. So let me take you back. The year was 2009. And I was watching the MTV VMA Awards, and I was how old was I? I was 12, maybe 13 years old at the time.
Fuck you.
And there was this man, this drunken black man by the name of Kanye West, who at the time I'm like, who is it? And like I know this guy, but I was a fan of his music, and he did this thing. Taylor, I'm happy for you, but Beyonce had the greatest music video of all time. That was my first exposure to Taylor Swift at that moment. And we can get into the whole discourse of how that moment changed the trajectory of both of their careers, and essentially Beyonce's too by proxy. But that was my first real introduction to Taylor Swift. Because I'm like, who is this, this little white country girl who's winning, MTV awards. And
so adorable.
I was just super foreign to her and to really pop music as a whole. And here I am, 14 years later, I'm a pop fiend, but that's besides the point. But the next year at the VMAs, Kanye does the song, and Taylor's like, yeah, asshole, leave me alone. So I was, a lot of people know me as the Kanye West guy, not the anti-Semitic stuff.
I was like, what's
the music.
Not now, Kanye West.
Not now, Kanye. But if you ask me about 808s and Heartbreak, it's but it's whatever. We're not here to talk about Ye. But Taylor,
Nay
was
to yay for today.
yes, we're no, nay to Ye, like what you said. But Taylor's career, at least at that point, to me, I was like, who the hell is this girl? You know, like, I don't know who this is and why should I care? And I remember my first girlfriend when I was in high school loved Taylor Swift. I'm like, what's the deal? What's the point here? And she had me listen to 1989.
I'll do it.
And I sat there. I was like, okay, maybe this is pretty good. and from that point forward, that's when Taylor Swift had me in the chokehold.
Well,
like it was 1989, and then what was after that? What was it? Reputation. Was that it?
I'm pretty sure Lover was first.
Lover.
Well, Lover's the first one that she's done under her own production. So I think Rep is the last of her production, right?
Yeah, it was Lover, and then she disappeared for a while because everyone hated Lover, and then she came back and did Reputation.
Lover's overhated.
It is overhated. And we're going to talk about that. We're absolutely going to talk about that.
1989, that was my gateway drug. And to this day, it's my favorite Taylor record. I'm very excited to listen to Taylor's version of this record.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, look at the poetry here. You started with 1989, and we're celebrating Taylor Swift on the cusp of her dominating theaters and also not even re-releasing, re-recording, restructuring 1989. And there is some... we got some vault songs on there. One that's definitely catching a lot of attention. You know, 4-letter word. Well, those you know.
If you know, you know.
Real quick, just based off of Wikipedia and Spotify check. So Reputation was 2017, and then Lover was 2019.
Okay.
Reputation, and the only reason I wanted to double check because I remember being on my honeymoon when she announced, like we were driving from Orlando to Savannah the day she deleted all of her followers off of Instagram and like deleted everything, and then slowly started posting the little picture videos. So it was on my honeymoon that like the last day of the day we were leaving was the day she released Look What You Made Me Do.
Well, at least she waited until you were done.
Right? She didn't overshadow my wedding.
Like she knew.
How
She
sweet.
knew. How sweet of her.
But
we were always meant to be best friends, is what it was.
Okay, so I don't know what I missed from the discussion before I got in here, but I was asked recently, and by recently I mean like 2 or 3 months ago, about like who was the bigger pop star at that time, and I was posed the question of either Taylor Swift or Beyonce, and this was right around this. This was probably the beginning of the Eras tour, and Beyonce hadn't started touring Renaissance yet. So it was a whole thing. It was a whole discussion. And at the time, I said Beyonce. And I listed off all these reasons as to why I think Beyonce was the bigger pop star at the time. But it is insane what Taylor Swift has done in the last, few weeks. Just by attending football games, just by, like Travis Kelce, I think, has the highest selling jersey in football right now.
Yeah.
It went up, what was it, 400% or something like that?
It went up 400% in sales.
All because they left together in a Corvette or in a convertible. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. The power that she has, and the Swifties I thought K-pop stans were, an unmovable force. Swifties can probably solve world hunger if we gave them a chance. Like it is.
They just need the budget.
Yeah.
Taylor, I gotta ask, were you also posting snake emojis on Kim and Kanye's videos when they tried to be sketchy and say that Taylor knew what he was calling her that bitch and like saying all the stuff that he said?
See, I'm not that cool. Like I know for my own mental health that I need to just disengage. Like I can't. Like I looked at it and went, I can't. Like I blocked Kim and Kanye. Like I just blocked everyone and was like, I'm not doing this. Like, because I'll give you a little history on me. Like I've never liked the Kardashians. Like I've never been into the reality show. Like I've never been into any of their makeup lines. Like I've just never been that person. And I'm not saying
you don't wear Skims? What the hell?
I'm not trying to say that to be like all cool and edgy. I've just never been into it. Like that's just not been my thing.
I bought a Kylie Jenner lip kit one time and I actually liked it. The thing was fire. No. When she was selling the lipstick and the lip liner together, I got it. But the lip liner ran out before the lipstick, and then I didn't want to. And then you can't find a matching
What are you
one. I
supposed to
can't
do
go
with
like
that?
$2 Wet and Wild.
It's
Like
it's
it didn't match enough.
hot dogs and buns right there. That's-
Exactly. And then they make you can't just go and buy the liner separate. You have to buy a whole new thing, and I didn't want
That's
to
how
do
they
that.
get you.
So expensive.
Yeah.
Sorry, Taylor, did not mean that.
No, that's I get it. Like I would be really upset if I'm like, well, how am I supposed to keep using this if one of the anyway? That's a whole scam in and of itself. But I also I vividly remember the MTV Awards situation. But my perspective was like, I was just this little white girl who didn't know who Kanye was and didn't care about who Kanye was. So I'm like pretty much the opposite of a lot of people who had this thing of man, his music is so good, but what a dickhead. I was never
You're just what a dickhead.
I was just yeah, okay, who does this guy think he is, bullying a 19-year-old kid on television in front of the whole world?
Hennessy's a hell of a drug,
with
Taylor. Hennessy is a hell of a drug.
When it came out, everyone's because that was the stuff I was hearing too. Was his music, and I was like, I don't know a Kanye song, and someone pointed out the was it Somewhere You Lost Your Soul, How Could You Be So Heartless? Yeah, Heartless.
Mhm.
That was I heard that song on the pop radio station. That was the only Kanye song I knew and had ever heard of.
Valid.
Taylor at that point, I had heard 8 songs, so I was like, get out of here, sit down, you're drunk.
Everybody was like, get out of here, sit down.
Everyone
Go
and the
home.
people who liked him were like, do you have to embarrass us like this? What are you doing?
Right.
All the Kanye fans are like, come on, Kanye. Come on.
If it wasn't, a teenage girl, like anybody else.
Yeah.
Anyone.
It was this poor girl who was her first award show, basically, her first big deal of an MTV award.
Yeah,
and she was just she thought everyone was booing her when they were mad at
Right.
Kanye.
Right.
Can you imagine what that mentally does to a teenager?
Could you imagine just being on that stage and someone like Kanye walking up and you know who he is?
Of course,
you know what's going on, and he's just walking up and you're like, oh, maybe he wants to hug me. Maybe he's excited for me.
She was so excited when he first came up. She's like, oh my gosh, Kanye's coming to congratulate me or something.
Yeah.
And then he was like,
When's the last time y'all saw that clip?
I can't
Miss
watch
Americana?
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I can't bear myself to watch it.
No.
I can't.
I put myself through it when Miss Americana came out.
Yeah. But God bless Beyonce going up there, winning her award and being like, Taylor, come get your moment back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
See, and that's the thing I like to circle back to, when we're in the current moment we are now, where people are like, Beyonce versus Taylor Swift. Whereas, they're just texting each other your tour is great. Your tour is great. How awesome. And we're also you have to pick one. There can only be one.
There can only be one. How dare you like
Meanwhile,
both?
people are wearing their Eras outfits one weekend to SoFi Stadium, and then the next weekend everyone's dressing in silver for Beyonce's
Mhm.
Yeah.
birthday. And guess what? Both of them completely sold out.
Yeah.
Multiple nights. They're just bad bitches doing their thing.
Mhm.
Good for
It's-
them.
I think it can be a fun conversation because they're both phenomenal, but it could just be that, right? A fun conversation of who do you prefer? Who do you think wins out in this thing or whatever? Because they're the two top dogs, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a fun conversation. But if you really want to tell who's better or this person sucks because this person's good, none of that shit. Get that out of here. Personally, I listened to is it Renaissance? Is that the new album?
Mhm.
It's great. It's not so much my jam as much, but I have
Sure.
no qualms about it either. I listened to it and I was like, wow, that was pretty sick. But I'm gonna go over here and keep listening to all this Taylor stuff because for whatever reason.
But I also think when you're trying to compare things like Beyonce and Taylor, and you start having the conversation, I feel like it's also an apples and oranges kind of thing. You're just taking two women and you're trying to take two women in music and say which one's better, but you're not factoring in the type of music, what they've been making, what they've been. It comes down to, I boil it down to the idea of the alien versus aliens, debate. It's just
two different
they're
genres.
both two different genres. And I think with Taylor and yes, they're both in, at one point we're in with pop music, but what Beyonce did with Renaissance is completely groundbreaking and bringing to the forefront things like ballroom and support and huge support in that LGBTQ LGBTQIA, plus community, especially with the Black and Indigenous people of color and and like her whole point with creating that Renaissance album, that's not something Taylor would ever do. Not that she's not supportive, not that it's, but like, that's just, you're not going to get something like that from her, but you're going to get something like Midnight, or when she dropped the bomb on everybody in 2020 and just released Folklore out of nowhere. And it's a completely different genre for kind of just a different storytelling that she did. And in that sense, groundbreaking for what she did. So I think that, everyone wants to try to compare and have an argument, but there's no argument to be had because they're both doing amazing in the genres and what they are doing and within the people that are going to support them. You know what I mean?
And that's a bigger discussion on fan bases, really. Mm-hmm. Like, because the artists aren't telling, like Taylor Swift or Beyonce or whoever the hell, they're not telling their fans, hey, you can only like me, go shit on the other one. No, like, and that's not what we're here for. And again, like Midnights or Renaissance or any of these other records that have come out the last few years that have made a big, they've made waves in pop music or whatever genre you listen to. Like, I think folks just can't comprehend that you can like more than one thing. And yeah, I know like fan bases can get a little crazy, whether it's your Swifties, your Navy, your Army, your Barbs, whoever, they can get very defensive. And it's not everybody, but they're the loudest of the bunch sometimes. So it is it can get like tribalistic at points.
She had to go and tell everyone to not get mad at John Mayer with Speak Now, Taylor's version being released because of how
too bad.
It ignites.
It's too bad, Taylor. You have no power over that.
Meanwhile, Jake Gyllenhaal had to sit back and go, what the fuck?
Right, just get dunked on. Catching strays and shit.
I think it was Taylor Lautner posted a TikTok when like Speak Now, Taylor's version was coming out, and he was just like, y'all pray for John.
There's this great TikTok that I've been following that's popped up in my algorithm, and it's this girl that like she just plays different parts of like different Taylor Swift songs, and she just reacts to them as like the different boyfriends. So like she'll say the different exes, so like it'll pop up which one it is, and like whenever it's like Taylor Lautner or Harry Styles, they're always like pumped and like singing along to it. And then like Joe Alwyn, she just looks out the window and it's constantly looks like she's about to cry. Like, hey
Joe.
It's amazing. I gotta find her. I'll see if I can send you guys the link for her. But she's literally one of my favorite TikToks of all time right now.
I feel like that's a very exclusive club that Taylor and Harry Styles find themselves in. They're like in the safety circle, and everyone else just gets sprays constantly.
Tom Hiddleston is another one of those.
Oh yeah, Hiddleston's good too.
When she does him too, like even if it's like even if it's a song that's like about him, he's just like, oh, it's me. No.
Like see, but here's the thing. I think that Hiddleston, so Harry Styles is like a whole interesting conversation you could have in and of itself. But I think that Tom Hiddleston versus the Joe Alwyn thing is fascinating to me because they're both like, and I guess you could say Jake Gyllenhaal is kind of in the same boat, but I feel like Joe Alwyn and Tom Hiddleston are like the more laid back kind of movie stars that don't really want to deal with being like the star part of being in movies. Like they're just like there to make movies and then they're kind of over it. Whereas Jake Gyllenhaal's very like, in it, like he's playing it up and he's doing the whole thing and like he's very good at it. With Tom Hiddleston, he's like, I'm just trying to live my life. Like Taylor's doing what she's doing and like that's chill. And then everyone's just like mad at Joe Alwyn now though. Like nobody likes him. Everyone's like, you can't go quietly into the night. We will find
Was that the inciting event for this? Because Taylor Swift was already a big star in pop music. Like she was already huge, and when she with all the Joe Alwyn stuff, I think that was really when she blew up into this. I don't even want to call her international, like intergalactic star, like because she is the pop star at the moment, and I don't see her being dethroned anytime soon. Like, because I would have argued like, oh, maybe Ariana, but she's getting dunked on for dating SpongeBob. So like, it's like, who the hell can dethrone her? Nobody.
Yeah.
Because she's on top of the world, and everybody every day hears Taylor Swift's name at least one time, and whether they want to or not. Shit, if you watch ESPN or if you watch Sunday Night Football tonight on NBC, for a fact Chris Collinsworth's going to drop a line about Taylor Swift not being in attendance at the Cowboys-Niners game. So like, she transcended music and movie and sport and everything. It's nuts because who the hell else has done this? Michael Jackson? Like who else? I don't know.
Like, who else has the ESPN crew like filming a bit, like filming a skit about like how they figured out that Travis and Taylor are dating? Like they did like a whole like detective board like skit like thing before one of the games where they were like, this is how we know they're together, and they were both born in 1989, and and it was like a whole thing. Like, who else do they put an effort for when they know someone's going to be at a football game? Who else?
They've talked about Taylor Swift more than they've talked about baseball in the last 3 weeks.
I know.
And the playoffs just started. So that's a whole discussion that'll piss me off later. But but Taylor, what she's doing now, I want to say the Joe Alwyn stuff is what was the inciting event, because that's when everybody was like, wait a minute, oh shit, like here's another Taylor Swift thing. And it just happened to coincide with the record release and, her going on this crazy ass stadium tour where she's selling out weekends, not just nights, weekends at football stadiums.
Multiple days.
Yes. And there are tons of folks like myself who were standing outside of stadiums listening to her show who didn't get tickets into the actual program and had to listen to it outside with a bunch of, I stuck out in the crowd, I'll tell you that. But it was unbelievable.
It created the truest version of the People versus Ticketmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Swift single-handedly was like, Ticketmaster bad. Oh my God, Ticketmaster's ass.
Meanwhile, I think it's like the guys from like Rage Against the Machine have been like lobbying to like congressmen, or like have been doing hearings about Ticketmaster years and years and years ago. It's amazing what Taylor Swift, like you bring up like People versus Ticketmaster, right? You going back to like when we were all putting viruses on our parents' computers with Napster and LimeWire.
And
everybody was so angry at Lars with Metallica for speaking out against it. Like, you're taking money from our pockets, you're doing this, and people are like, oh, shut the fuck up, you make millions, blah 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 blah. But then when years and years and years later, now we have Spotify and we have Apple Music and all of these things, and then Taylor's out here saying like, Spotify, pay your fucking artists, like our royalties are shit.
Yeah, she was.
All of a sudden everyone's like, yeah, Spotify, what the fuck? And it's just like, we were all pieces of shit before, but as soon as Taylor says it, it's like the world.
Right. Because I forget when it took me when I realized her music wasn't on streaming. And like it was like the Garth Brooks. It's like her and Garth Brooks. They're like, oh, streaming? No, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
And then one day it's like, okay, I'm missing a lot of money on streaming. Let's put my records on there.
But it was after deals were made.
Years for her to be like, all right, let's do it, fine. And now again, if she's not the most streamed artist in the world, there's probably like Ed Sheeran or The Weeknd or some shit, but still.
She does an ad to tell people to start registering to vote because we're getting into election season. And I think there was like something like 30 million people registered to vote within 48 hours of like that ad or something like an insane number.
And then the Fox News crew got on Fox News and complained about how she's influencing people to vote. Like,
isn't it crazy? Because isn't that what politics is?
Isn't that what Fox News does? Like,
right.
She's evil and her albums are terrible, and I can't believe she would do this.
No. The liberals can't tell people to vote.
I can't wait for Ben Shapiro to give us a breakdown of Taylor Swift's lyrics.
Channel, like 1 million subscribers because we're getting into politics right now. People are clicking out of the stream.
They're talking about Fox News.
Ben Shapiro is going to make sure to buy all of Taylor's albums just to burn them.
Because that's how that works, right?
That's exactly
Yep, he pre-ordered
Ben
Taylor's version, and he's gonna burn it the second.
I want him to do a full lyric breakdown of "All Too Well" and what the red scarf means, the way that he did with WAP when that came out.
Yeah.
I would watch that unironically.
We won't get a better transition of this. So speaking of all Taylor Swift's albums and Ben Shapiro burning them, let's get into our tier list, which is going to be rough.
Do it.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, let me get a little better framing on here if I can.
Oh, that's harsh. I forgot that you existed, dude. When I heard that song for the first time and it hit that chorus real quick, I was like, oh fuck. Harsh. Like, you just and then one day I just forgot that you existed. That was like me with Jay Wade. It just happened.
Oh my god!
And then apparently you
Inside
remembered all of a
baseball.
sudden.
Then I remembered as a kid,
Yeah.
inside baseball.
It's
Little
very inside
Jimmy.
baseball.
So I
Little
You know,
believe
you know.
I have this in chronological order. And then just at the end here, we have like the original Red, Speak Now, and Fearless. We're just going to do kind of for those albums an all-encompassing ranking.
I'm gonna tell
it's
you
like-
right now, real quick. I forgot that they existed. The ones that are not Taylor's versions of Speak Now, Fearless, and Red.
Fair enough.
That's valid.
Okay.
Fuck.
The other thing that I'm trying to do, just to make it difficult, so we actually have to make hard choices, is we can't have more than 3 in a section.
You're okay. Stop it. Stop.
So we're gonna
That's
do.
gonna
We're
make
just
this
hard choices.
very difficult.
I know, but
Oh,
none of
Christ.
these are, you know, if it clears your consciousness at all, none of these are like, hey, this album's bad. You know, no skips, obviously flawless. Long Live is just like great. Maybe there's like 2 songs you don't like or something like this. Under Scrutiny means like it's a toss-up. You like a lot of it, you might not like some of it. Forgot That You Exist doesn't necessarily mean bad. It might just be your least listened to Taylor album. You're like,
Anyone
oh,
that's
you're
not
just-
Taylor's version.
I'm gonna come in hot as hell with these takes.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna fight tooth and nail for my number 1. And if it doesn't end up in our top 3, we'll never see these 4 people.
I
on
already
screen
showed my
again.
hand, so I'm ready to put up my dude.
Okay.
Jesse
okay.
is trying to end friendships. He's trying to just end the channel altogether.
And I have-
This is how
I have-
we go down.
I have on my phone the polls that we put up on Twitter for all these albums. So sometimes if we need a little bit of help with influence, let's consult the polls and see what they say. Okay?
That can be the tiebreaker. The poll can be the tiebreaker.
Yeah, it could be.
Unless
it could
I
be a
disagree
solution.
with it. Then it's
Okay, that's valid. That's
All
valid.
right, so let me scroll down to where's debut on here.
I already know it should be at the top, and this is like when we get there, we'll get there.
I don't know.
But holy shit,
I'm just getting okay.
you guys are gonna
there's-
kill me.
Okay. All right, so Little Miss Heartbreak herself. We're gonna start out with debut. Thoughts, feelings. Let's start. We're gonna mix up who kind of goes first, and you can have little thoughts of where you think it should go. Chris, you're the last one in. We'll have you go
Mhm.
first.
So remember I said I was
Country-
gonna come in
the-
hot,
The Princess of Country.
right? So like I said I was gonna come in hot about these records, and again, she has not made a bad album. Let's also keep that in mind. All of these they're all good to great in their own way. Let's not act like this is her best record, and it's nowhere near it. I'm floating between Under Scrutiny and I Forgot That You Existed, and
Okay.
I'm willing to hear things out. But at the moment, looking at the rest of the albums on the bottom, I forgot this record existed.
Okay. So we're gonna start there. That doesn't mean that it's gonna be the placement. That is just the first where we're thinking. Now we're gonna move up to Taylor on Taylor. What's your thoughts? Any qualms? Would you move this?
Yeah, I would definitely move this to Under Scrutiny. This cannot go. I
Valid.
Forgot You Existed. This propelled her to being the youngest country artist ever to like reach #1 for an album. This propelled her into such a stratosphere. And she wrote this whole album by herself at like 14, 15 years old. Like, there's no way we're forgetting this album existed because she wouldn't be here without this album. Like,
Of
it
course.
just straight up, no way.
Okay.
But there's so many
That's hard to argue. Allison.
I would probably say Under Scrutiny, but that's also because I have other feelings about the ones that are not Taylor's version on here. And the only reason I say that is as I agree with Taylor on the fact that like this is where she did like this is what started to get her put on the map. Granted, country Taylor's not my favorite Taylor era. It's just not. But the idea that she was what 16? How old was she when
I
she
think
was?
she was like 16 when it came out.
She was,
Yeah,
when
so
it
she
came
was
out, she was-
writing these songs at 14, 15, or even earlier than that, which I think is super impressive. And so I would have to agree with the Under Scrutiny at this point.
Okay. All the points about when it came out, how it came out, her like how old she was, it's all really impressive. When I put the poll up, I said she started writing professionally at 14. That's crazy. This is an incredibly impressive album, and it is hard to forget that it happened. Thinking of, listening to things when we have like the full track things, what am I most often going to skip some of the things that pop up? It's probably here, but I'm not a country fan. And this is a country album. It's not country-ish. This is Country Taylor. I had voted I Forgot That You Existed on here. And that would mean me and Chris, we have a split.
That's because you're men and you're stupid.
I
Yeah,
knew
I
that was gonna come up. Okay.
And also, I want to take into account here. There's clearly an anti-country music bias, which I will not be allowing. I will not allow it.
Well,
Okay.
luckily, we don't have to deal with it for very long.
Not allowed.
I did not say I was anti-country.
Someone else did. Someone else
You're
did.
right.
Allison said,
I'm covering my
Granted-
ass.
Country Taylor.
Granted,
is not-
keep in mind, there is like I'm a huge like old like I love me some Cheshire, I love me some Garth Brooks. I mean I do like country in general, but Country Taylor's not my favorite version of Taylor. But that's just when I didn't get into her yet. Like I was listening to Taking Back Sunday, apologizing for bleeding on people's shirts at that
Understood.
time. So I was in a very
Let the record show that the words of Jesse Swift did not reflect my thoughts on this record.
All right, I just
Like-
want to.
Just saying, just putting that out there, just so we're all on the same page.
I'm glad that I think it's fun that we get to consult the poll on our very first album. I think that's how it should be. So we have a split between Under Scrutiny and Forgot That You Existed. I have the poll pulled up right here, and it's very close. We have Long Live No Skips at 30%, Long Live at 30%. Under Scrutiny is at 40%, and nobody said Forgot That You Existed. So that would mean for the time being, unless we decide to change it later,
That's cool.
She-
I'm
she
cool with
stays-
I'm good at
she
Under
stays
Scrutiny.
she stays at Under Scrutiny.
I'm cool
Now,
with this.
and again, we're going to try to keep something's going to have to end up in there. We're going to
So
see
we
how this
can
goes.
move these later.
We can move them later. These are our starting
Okay.
points. So when we start getting to placements, if we think something's more deserving than something else, we can start doing some shuffling as long as we all kind of agree on it.
That
All
middle
right.
piece of the bottom is gonna fuck us up.
Oh, it's
For the
gonna
record.
it's
gonna
there's-
kill us.
friendships are getting lost right here. Just saying. All right, Fearless, her second, which I consider Fearless to kind of be a hybrid. It still had a little bit of a country vibe to it, but it was playing on the pop stations and the country. This is when she was getting both, right?
This is Taylor's
This is
version
Taylor's
of it, though.
right.
This one's Taylor's version.
It
So-
is. But I'm just speaking. Well, this is kind of like Fearless as a whole, right? So we're gonna talk a little bit about when it first came out, the Taylor's version.
Okay.
How do we feel? How are our feelings about these songs? This collection of songs on this album.
I think this is really when Taylor, like, she was like, there was a lot of country still in this. Like she didn't exactly leave country music after her debut self-titled. But I think this is when people started to really notice outside of country. Like, oh wait, like who is this girl? You know, like love stories on this shit. The title track is great, amongst others. But
Is White Horse is also Fearless as well, right?
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I love. If we're just talking about Taylor's version, I love Taylor's version of Fearless, and I believe it's better than the original. I don't know where to put this because again, I'm thinking ahead, and it's gonna crush
We're saying
me.
definitely above.
I think it's better than her self-titled. Yes,
Okay.
wholeheartedly.
Is it in Long Live,
Yes.
or is it? I'm Chris right now. I'm asking
For now, long live. I think it's
you
it's
want
Long
to say
Live.
Long Live? Okay,
Yes.
Good answer, Chris.
For now.
okay. Allison, do you want to hop on this?
Yeah, I think when you have Sophie Turner coming out with sharing Mr. Perfectly Fine and dunking on her then husband at the time with it, I think that
Talk
is
about Joe Jonas.
yo,
Oh my god.
yo, it's not a bop. Like it is fantastic. This was the, correct me if I'm wrong, but this was the first one she released as Taylor's version, correct? When she started doing the Taylor, because it went this one, then it went Red, and then
Yeah.
Speak
Mhm.
Now,
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
and now we're about to get 1989.
Yeah.
So to go back and revisit all of these songs and being able to hear the slight changes that she's made to make them her version and to do what she's doing and stick in it. But like, these are the songs that I started hearing on the radio that I was getting Taylor Swift. And I'm like, this shit's catchy AF. So I think I don't know if I would put it as no skips, but I would definitely keep it at long live for me.
Okay. Taylor.
All right, so I'm just gonna get really controversial just right off the bat and get this over with because it's gonna come up a lot
Oh
as we're
shit.
going through this.
Oh
but
shit.
there is not a Taylor's version I like more than the original version when it comes to the albums.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Like there just isn't. I like
You
the
did
vault.
give me a funny look when I said Fearless was better than the original.
I like the vault songs that we get as a part of Taylor's versions, and I think
Castles
some of,
Crumbling is so good. I mean, it's not this album, but still.
like that I think is incredible. I think it's really cool she gets to pull songs that she wrote that we never got to hear, and she gets to interpret them now, how she would put them out now.
Mhm.
I Can See You, I Bet You Think About Me, like some of the best songs, in my opinion. Just incredible stuff. I like Fearless Taylor's version. It's probably my favorite, like Taylor's version we've gotten. But again, I don't personally like them better than the original recordings, just because they sound great, but I just have this thing. I just like hearing the original way they were intended and the way she like sang them as she was feeling them at the time. Like it's a time capsule, right? It's how she was
Sure.
feeling, it's how she was interpreting the things she wrote then. And it's cool that we get updated versions of how she feels about it now, but they're just not, I don't think they're ever going to triumph the originals for me, just from an emotional
Is it
standpoint.
nostalgic for you?
What do you feel about Fearless as a collective?
As a collective, I think it's in the correct place. I think Long Live is where I would put it. It's definitely in the top tier of Taylor albums for me, but it's not my favorite.
Mhm.
Like it definitely falls like in the top kind of range of albums that I listen to most. Like if I'm gonna rank like which ones I'm not skipping songs from and not, I vibe with it. So I think Long Live is a good place to put it for now. At
For
least.
now, because
For now. Because I mean, I can't predict what's going to happen here. We still have so many albums to go through.
if you ask my top 6 Taylor records, this version of Fearless, or just Fearless as a whole, I guess, even though I prefer Taylor's
And it's
version.
crazy. A top 6 is like just half.
I
mean,
know.
Not even if you like have the originals and the Taylor's version.
Yeah.
Right, because again, I'm thinking ahead. I'm thinking
Right.
of where some of these other records are going to go, and where we're really going to start arguing with each other. But Fearless, Taylor's version, or as a collective, even because the reason why I like Taylor's version better, to put this out there, I like just the maturity that she brings to these songs. That again, like what you were alluding to, Taylor, how she felt at the time, and almost not like, what is adolescent? Is that a bad thing to say? It feels like it's sweet and it's wholesome in their own way. But I like these Taylor's versions because they like take what was
Sometimes
so
you
good
can
at the
hear a
time.
little more sting on it, especially
Right.
if it's a song that's lived with her for a decade.
Exactly.
revisits it.
And maybe at the time, God knows who had their hands all involved in the process after she started writing the songs. And I mean, Scooter Braun, the devil in this case, like he put a stink on all those older records solely because of the drama that him and Taylor had and the reason why we have these Taylor's versions to begin with. But I love how mature she sounds now on these songs that were so adolescent and that a lot of us listened to when, we were around the same age. And it's almost like it's like a coming of age movie.
Yeah.
Like it's like they soundtrack a certain time in your life.
Mhm.
But
And I appreciate that. For me, I don't want to let Scooter Braun take these albums away from me.
totally.
Yeah.
And honestly, good for you for doing
That's
that.
how I feel about it, though. Like, I get if it sours it for people who just don't want anything to do about it, but like, I'm not letting Scooter take that away from me.
You're keeping the power by not giving it to him for that reason.
I have not stopped listening to 1989 because of his goofy ass. And I don't and I don't.
No,
And
I just
I'm
want to
fine
like
on
get this out there because there are a lot of people online and on Twitter who are like, if you still listen to those old albums, you don't like Taylor Swift and you don't care about her and you're
Yeah,
That's
that
a
whole
lot.
gatekeeping. Is that the version of like Star Wars fandom on Twitter?
It's arguably worse, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
But I just want to get that out there. Like, if you're gonna like hate me now. I'm gonna tell you right now. I still
Mm-mm.
listen to those her original versions of the albums, and I still love them. And
I like going back and listening and hearing the differences in what she's done with it. I mean, I think when we get to Speak Now, we can talk about that a lot, especially with Better Than Revenge and the choices that she made with that. But we'll let Jesse give his thoughts on Fearless.
Keep it real simple. Fearless for me, as somebody that came into it late, I mean, like, obviously I knew like all the radio popular songs that were on Fearless and stuff, and I enjoy both versions of it for different reasons. But as Chris was talking about like top 6 and stuff, I don't know if it's one of my top ones. I would maybe put it on the next bar under. However, I do not have a strong enough feeling about that to at this point defend that choice, so I actually don't want to argue with its placement. I'm fine leaving it right where it is. For me, it would probably be on the bottom tier of Long Live. That's kind of where I had it. It's like in between like the best of Under Scrutiny and the bottom of Long Live. So I'll just say leave it there for right now.
Sounds good to me.
all right.
All right. The collective Speak Now. Let's start top to bottom. I like going last because I feel like I have the least amount to say. And I like listening to people that have more intelligent things to say. It helps me
Oh, stop it.
model my opinion a little better. So we're going to start with Allison. We'll go Allison, Taylor, Chris on this one.
With this one, again, I think kind of what I was alluding to with when we were talking about Fearless is what I like about Speak Now, and the Taylor's version of it. Again, going back and listening to the original, you talk about us and where she was at in her life when she wrote songs like Better Than Revenge, where the line is, she's not a saint. She's an actress. She's better known for the things that she does on the mattress.
That was spicy for Little Taylor.
It was very spicy, but that was the original line. And I think the conversation leading up to Speak Now that a lot of people were having is she going to keep it or is she going to change it? And Taylor being older, more, as she's grown, she's realized
she said, let's not slut shame people.
Exactly. So that it's, she was the moth to the flame, or you're like moth to the flame. She was holding the matches, whatever. And so I think that's
Still
where
bops.
it's absolutely, but I think that's where this idea of these Taylor versions grow on me, in the sense that she's able to make these changes, still keep the heart of the song, because Better Than Revenge is my jam. Like, I love I love her FU songs so much, and that's like top tier, like one of them for me. But even again, with that being said, Speak Now as an album as a whole, I still enjoy it. I still like it. I think it's great, but for me, it would be Long Live above Fearless, simply because of Better Than Revenge.
I just want to tag on really quick because I pretty much have the same thoughts. That's where I would also have it. Back to December's on Speak Now, right?
Yes.
I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
I love this album. Speak Now is my favorite of, I call it just like the early Trinity.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's represented right now. That's where it's at. This kind of makes sense to me. That's all I have to say about that, Taylor.
I mean, I don't know if you guys can see my shirt, but I think you guys are going to know where I want to put this album without me having to say much about it. So, Speak Now is one of my top 3 favorite Taylor albums. It just always has been. I really connect with every single song. Like, it doesn't have any skips. Like, it literally has no skips for me. Like, it's just always been the album I listen to front to back. Has never been a skip. Really,
I'll give you Lauren's insight, because she also loves Speak Now. She's like, I love Speak Now except for Superman.
Yeah, that's fair. I can
what she always says.
I can dig that. But for me, Speak Now has just always been my favorite album. I'm not quite sure why. It just is the one that I vibe with. I love it. I do really like Taylor's version. There are some songs I don't love the production style. It just feels a little bit like too clean, I guess, for me. Whereas the original version is very much like, I don't know, it just has more of like a tangible feeling to me for some reason. But anyway, Better Than Revenge, I like the new version. I'm really glad the internet has stopped talking about this version versus that version, because that is something I don't need from the internet ever again. Like, that's just like, because it's really hard to have the nuanced conversation around it that you need to have if you actually want to talk about it, and not just like yell at each other about it. Because I do like the new version, but again, I just have feelings about like it being a time capsule and being an angry teenager and just saying that line because it's how she felt. and
Well,
not
it's like
having
it's the Paramore thing too,
That's what I was
right?
gonna
With,
say,
with
it's the
Haley
Haley
Williams,
Williams, yeah.
and the Misery Business line that they're like, then they stop saying, "Hey, we're not going to play this song anymore," because the slut shaming aspect of it. This is like that. This is the granted. I feel like Taylor's is a little bit more harsh, but
it is, and I think she gets judged a bit more harshly for it
Mhm.
because she was seen as the like clean little sweet country girl who's not
Yeah,
allowed
and
to do
Paramore
stuff
never
like that.
tried to play sweet.
Whereas at least Paramore was very much in the scene where you're kind of
Yeah.
like, we're not trying to be nice to anybody here. Like that's not what this is about.
It was punk rock, basically,
but-
you know, and
Yeah, right. But with like that song, it just always felt so much like, why is she not allowed to be an angry teenager and say those things? Like maybe
Yeah.
she didn't. Maybe after she released the album, she didn't feel that way anymore. But that moment, that's how she felt about it. And you know what? I'm gonna say we've all thought things like that, and then been like, I probably shouldn't think things like that. But that's how I feel right now.
who hasn't called another woman or whoever behind their back a whore because they stole the person that you were with or into, or like,
or you know, of course you're into her. She sleeps with everybody. Like that's something that
Yeah, of
has like
course.
been said or thought, or you know, and it's
And, like,
terrible. But
That doesn't make it right, obviously. But I just hate that like there's kind of this thing where it's like we need to sanitize all of our media. Like people are not allowed to be, they're not allowed to have these layers to them that maybe aren't so pretty. Like she's not allowed to have felt this way, and she's not allowed to have said it, and it's not allowed to be this thing. And like, I don't know, there's just part of me that like flinches when people try to sanitize everything. It's like, no, it wasn't great that she said it. It wasn't great that she wrote it, but that's how she felt. And she was probably a really angry teenager. And like, when I was an angry teenager, like I was saying stupid shit all the time like that, probably, you know, and just being angry and being upset at other women.
she's lucky that that was all she got. Because if Joe Jonas dumped me in a 12-second phone call and then showed up with another, I would. Granted,
But
that means
that's what I mean. But that's what I mean. And not only that, she was having to deal with a very public, like people knew that. People knew she got dumped in a 12-second phone call.
Mhm.
But like, are you kidding me right now? Like, he's lucky the whole freaking album wasn't about how much of a dickhead he was at that point.
Yeah.
Like, anyway, that's just my little rant I wanted to go on because I'm really tired of people being like, oh, women aren't allowed to like be layered and say problematic things and have feelings, but all the men are allowed to release whatever albums they want, calling women bitches and whores and saying whatever, and they never have to pay any penance.
I do feel like this is when we got the beginning of the Swift spice. I feel like it was starting to come.
Yeah.
We had very, you know, some sweet like honey innocence in the first couple albums, I think. Mostly. Like there's some exceptions in there. But Speak Now is like she can bite. She's got it there.
Yeah. So for me, I would not put this any lower than Long Live. Like I would love to have it in no skips, but I know this panel's not going to agree with me, so Long Live is where it needs to go.
Chris,
On
I
that
forgot, did
note-
we already asked?
On that note, I hate to be the Debbie Downer of the group. I don't love this record. I do love that this ushered in
Just Taylor on the keyboard.
Taylor's like mature, the maturity in her songwriting, like because a lot of what her self-titled and what Fearless was it felt, you know, adolescent, and she reflected that in how she promoted it, the music videos. But Speak Now, there was like what you said, Jesse, that Swift spice. There was a little bit more to it. Like she was growing up, and the music reflected it. She didn't stick to the let's, kiss under the bleachers at the football game. It's not that shit anymore. Like it's getting, because she's growing up, and it's getting bigger than that. I also, going back to my preferring Taylor's version, like the maturity in her voice and how different her voice is between now and then. Like I love hearing that on this, but again, I'm not going to put it any lower than, I would put it below Fearless on this in the Long Live section. It's not with the self-titled. I wouldn't be mad if it was with the self-titled, but I just know I prefer other records when it comes to what's coming. But again, Speak Now is not my favorite Taylor record. I think I prefer Fearless, the OG, over OG Speak Now, and I do the same thing for Taylor's versions. But that's just me. And I didn't start listening to Taylor. I didn't have this Taylor with me when this record was released. I didn't jump in until 2 records later. So I didn't get to grow up with this like some of us did.
I guess my hot add-on is that, like, for me, the vault tracks in Taylor's version of Speak Now kind of like make the album for me. So this is one instance where like I really like Taylor's version a lot, because Speak Now wasn't one that like it didn't attune to my interests in music.
It didn't
can
speak to you, Jesse.
Haha. Yes.
It spoke later instead of now. You know what I mean?
No, she did. Yeah, when Taylor's version spoke later.
Mhm.
I'm fine with where it is. Again,
I'm cool with
for
this.
Now. I think things are going to start happening.
Swear to
and
God,
it's
you
good.
touch this one. I'm just kidding.
Jesse, it was funny. I wanted to say this at the jump, but I didn't want to throw off the conversation. When you scooted the Speak Now tile up, you put it up to no skips. I'm like, is he showing his hand right now? Like, I'm paying attention to your placement.
My real influence has not been shown yet.
I'm paying attention to where you're like, oh hey, yeah, red, and then you put the tile up to, I forgot that existed, or forgot you existed. Like I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention.
I mean, we've talked about singular tracks, you know, and highlights and things, but Red does have a lot of really good tracks. I do feel like it is kind of legendarily going down in history for like a track, a specific, you know, version of a track that is never going to be forgotten.
That a certain video or movie that she directed was released the same day with it, that tells the whole story of what.
And
Who knew a red scarf would cause Maggie Gyllenhaal so much confusion for the last however many years of her life?
And Guillermo del Toro said that Taylor Swift is an exceptional storyteller because of said music video. Let's just talk about it. Let's start out with Taylor this time. Let's just go crazy on order here. Taylor, how you feeling about Red? Because I think it's one of Lauren's favorite albums. Not to out.
Do it, Taylor. Rip the Band-Aid off.
I don't know what to do with this one, to be honest with you, because I really like Red, but it's probably bottom of Long Live, like top under scrutiny for me.
Okay.
Just like there's Red to me is like there's a couple of songs that I really, really love and really, really listen to, and the rest are very casual for me. Like I wouldn't necessarily say there's a lot of skips on the album. I just don't pick to listen to them as often. And also like I shouldn't even say this, but whatever. I just like nothing to me will ever beat the original version of All Too Well. Like, so like
the pain's fresh.
Like the 10-minute version is like great because it shows how much of us like it shows her maturity in songwriting. It really shows how she can tell a story, and it's like the music video or the short film, whatever you want to call it, is incredible. But like again, the production on it is too much for me. I don't love the production on Taylor's version. Like I just like the stripped back kind of version we get on the original album, where this one just like I just don't feel it. It doesn't emotionally hit me the way that I want it to, which sucks because I love that song. I don't like the production. I need someone to take away the production, put an acoustic guitar on it, and I'll be fine. Like I don't love it. I don't know what it, and that really like it does hurt. Like the thing about Taylor's version of Red, like the thing that really saves it for me is the fact we got I Bet You Think About Me, because that is a banger. One of the best music videos. Like she just shows she does not care anymore. She is going for throats with that music video. Like she is fully in. So for me, depending on how everyone else feels about it, like I would put it end of Long Live or Under Scrutiny, like beginning of Under Scrutiny. But I have a tough time with this one because I know Red is like very, very like fan favorite, popular kind of thing. But I'm very like, it's like mid. It's middle for me, like of my ranking. Like it falls right in the mid. Like look, I mean, as mid as Taylor Swift can get, which isn't really, you know. But for me, it's like mid Taylor Swift. It's like right on the line.
My pea brain, just put this out there. When I hear mid, I arguably think mid is worse than bad. Like imagine if you do something, you're like, oh, that was mid.
Yeah, I'm not that cool. Like my lingo doesn't. I'm not.
Mid means is an abbreviated version of middle.
Yeah,
sure, but my pea brain, I hear mid. I know that's not what you meant, but my pea brain heard mid.
If
Red
I ever
mid. I
said
said, what?
mid unironically, I need someone to shoot me. Like literally just right here. Just like
Just take it.
On stream.
I'm far too old to be saying mid and using it the way that the internet wants me to use it.
Hi Bador. If
Bador.
I can chime in on mid, I mean red. I
Stop it.
I
Stop it
love.
right now.
I'm kidding. It's not. I don't think it's mid in any sense of the word. I do think like the hits off of this record. This is really where like Pop Taylor was like really crashing radio. I Knew You Were Trouble. 22. We're never ever getting back together. Like those tracks.
Is Bad Blood on here as well?
No, that's 89. We'll get there.
Okay, right. Sorry, lines blur a little bit in certain spots. Gotcha.
But the hits off of this record, I don't love. They're fun and they're almost anthemic in a way, which will soon become Taylor's gimmick way later. You know, again, selling out football stadiums. But I do like the From the Vaults from this guy. I love the inclusions of artists like Chris Stapleton, somebody who was not as big of an artist in the country, if you want to call him country, because I guess he's not as country anymore, but that's a different conversation. Chris Stapleton and Phoebe Bridgers, I love her inclusion on this as well, but I'm also a Phoebe fan, so I may be a little bit biased. But I agree with Taylor on the under scrutiny position of this, solely because like I'm not a big fan of the hits. And when I revisit Taylor records, I don't jump to this one. There are a bunch of other ones I would jump to, Fearless being one of them, and a few others that we're going to get to in a moment. But Red is good. I just don't love it as much as I do, say, Fearless or...
It's hard shaking it down when it's all good, right?
Yeah.
No, it's right. And again, I said it up top. She does not have a bad record. None of her albums are bad.
It's why I didn't do like A, B, C, D, because I'm like...
Nothing would have been below
nothing's
B.
a D. It's A,
Yeah,
B's.
right.
You know? I tried to make it a little more fun than that.
But no, I say under scrutiny for this guy. And I probably...
Gyllenhaal was definitely
under
under scrutiny.
I'm out here dunking on the singles, but they're fun. And 22 is a bop. Everyone, when they turn 22, or they were already 22, they bumped that shit to the day they died. Like, I still bump that shit. But in context with everything else,
because when I turned 23, all I had was Blink-182 telling me no one likes me.
That's valid.
Just want to say really quick, hey to Cheryl in the chat, and also Fabian stopping by to show the support of us, not Taylor Swift.
It's okay. Can't all be right.
True.
But I'm just gonna pop in with my thoughts now with the question. I am actually in agreement too with Taylor on Red. First of all, I think when you are listening to the original, the OG All Too Well, it is, you hear the heartbreak and the sadness and everything that kind of goes along with it. And I think that is what makes that song, right? Like, I think that's where it hits the hardest. I think that is, and then we're lucky enough to get the 10-minute version where you can hear every single word she wrote out that the record company didn't make her, toss out or move on from or cut down or edit. And I think that's very important with the storytelling in and of itself, because you get the entire, we could finally put to rest what the red scarf meant based off of her short film and whatnot. But I don't think it needed it. I think we could have just had All Too Well and not have the full 10-minute version and figured it out. I think that for this one, it's not my favorite Taylor album either. I think I know it because I do enjoy Red. I think that's a really fun song. And I really like how All Too Well just pulls at my like songwriting heartstrings. So where it's at like just below Long Live in Under Scrutiny, I think is the perfect spot for it right now.
Isn't it fucking crazy how, was it Variety? One of the pundits, they had Taylor talk to, what was it, Martin McDonough about directing. Yeah. And I know all of us watched that and we're like, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
Like Martin McDonough and Taylor Swift are discussing directing. And not too many people get to go on Saturday Night Live and perform the full 10-minute version of their song.
Yeah.
Like it's a live show. They try to keep it tight, and typically you get 2. But Taylor, they let her do the whole damn thing.
Mhm.
And Dylan O'Brien and Sadie Sink. Is this Sadie Sink?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they my lord. I get her and the girl from the Goldbergs mixed up. I forget her name. But Sadie Sink, yes.
I did realize in hindsight we didn't spend enough time talking about Dear John, but we can revisit it at some point.
I'll live.
I will say I don't disagree with the placement of Red.
You don't love
I will
it though.
say out of the whole pantheon of Taylor's music, Red is cry time. Red I find to be kind of an emotionally exhausting album, because whether it be for All Too Well or the one that the second it pops up on Spotify or whatever, I skip it so fast because I hate listening to it, is Ronin. If anyone's listening to Ronin or know the story behind Ronin, that song is so ungodly devastating that I like actively hate it. It's beautiful, it's amazingly done, it's it's wonderful, but I cannot listen to that song. And then All Too Well is rough. That's also an emotional journey, and there's some other things on it too. So it's got some pop, it's got some fun on it, but I think it's for me one of the hardest ones to listen start to finish, because it like the ebb and flow of it so much, where like sometimes I just want to vibe. In Red, vibe wise can be a little all over the place. It doesn't have like, I feel like all the albums have a very specific identity for the most part. And you can play a song and know what album it's off of, unless it's Bad Blood and you're an idiot like me. But Red
Don't say that.
It hits a lot. It hits a lot of different things. So I'm fine with it being there. And Under Scrutiny really just means that it's got some bangers, it's got some not so much, or maybe it's just not like our favorite to listen to.
Oh, I think like Red is where we're getting like really, really emotional Taylor, right?
Yes.
Like this is like where in the media, this is where everyone's giving her shit for the guys that she's dating. And like all of her relationships are so public at this point that like, this is the album she writes because she's heartbroken. And then 1989 is the album she writes because she's like, fuck all of you. Like, I'm going to now have fun with this thing that you guys keep giving me. So that any normal person would be doing between the ages of 18 and now, 33, like she is now, right? Like she's doing what someone who isn't in the public eye would be doing with having dating and relationships and all of this stuff.
That's like most poignant in Nothing New, right? That's the Phoebe Bridgers song.
Mhm.
Is that on this album?
Yeah.
Yeah, that song, it's rough. I mean, it's really good, but you listen to it.
You got Phoebe Bridgers on it. It's not going to be a happy song.
Yeah.
I think it was, I mean, she said a lot of the same themes throughout a variety of her music and stuff, but I think that song specifically really narrowed down that, like, God, could you just let me live a normal life and do things that girls my age would do? And there's a lot of songs that kind of like tie in together. Like we'll get into like the man conversation later.
Okay.
But that I feel like that goes in with Nothing New too, because it's like if I did all this exact same stuff as a man, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
100%.
So do we have? Let's see. One
last thing on Red. I looked up the track listings. I want to see where it was at. So the original version of All Too Well is sandwiched in between I Knew You Were Trouble and 22. What a jarring placement.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. If you're listening to it, like you just
the
put
sequencing of the record is so jarring.
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
But
she wants you to feel as emotionally distraught and confused as she is, where the vibe's just all over the place.
And it works. Success. If that's the case, thumbs up from me. But as I'm going through this, because I like listening to albums from start to finish.
Especially some of the Taylor ones. There's
that's what I was doing for this.
Yeah.
Like when I found out we were doing this and re-listening to Taylor songs, I went from start to finish on albums. No shuffle. If you listen to albums on shuffle, especially first time listening, let's pump the
what's
brakes.
track 5? You're looking at it. I'm not.
All Too Well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So album sequencing, and I'm a nerd for sequencing on records. And oh man, it's so jarring. But if that's the worst thing on the album, sue me. How dare you, Taylor, put All Too Well between the hits off the album.
Okay. we gotta zip through some of these because we have other things we'd like to do if we can. Just a reminder, because we didn't really, I don't know if it's a reminder. Talked about it on Twitter, haven't put it on here. We do have Streamlabs open. There's a link to it in the description if you guys want to donate. That would be awesome. Just being fully transparent, I created a lot of these games and things, and I kind of want to do them. So if you guys want to donate, that would be excellent and great. I know, things are tight for everybody and things, so I understand. Anyways, let's continue on to the tier. We got Chris saying 1989 and
No
no
skips.
skips.
No skips. None.
No skips.
No skips.
We got 2 no skips, not even commentary. Taylor.
Okay, you know what? Okay.
All right, Chris.
Okay, I'm biased because this was my gateway drug into Taylor Swift, and I remember being this record came out 2014, and I was 17, and I was like, oh, I can't like Taylor Swift. I'm a boy. I can't like Taylor Swift. I'm over here like listening to 1989 in my headphones. Tee. But I love this album. Out of the Woods, Welcome to New York, all the
sitting here for a second.
Yeah, all the singles off of this thing it's wonderful. It's truly, I think, Taylor's not a victory lap, but she is like, oh, if you're still doubting me, here's this. And to me, this is what made her like a superstar. This album. And is it her best album? Spoiler alert, no. But this is my favorite. I love it so much. I had the most fun re-listening to this one from start to finish, and I'm eager to see her fresh takes on all of these songs when it comes out.
We should have like a Zoom call or something when Taylor's version drops.
When we all drop our needles on our vinyls that we all pre-ordered.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I got the vinyl. The
like
vinyl's
a
already
watch
coming.
along, but like a listen along. We can't actually
Right.
play it on here, but like
Yeah.
all right, and we're on too.
Yeah.
I think as long as we don't go live, we could just invite people.
We don't want
on.
Taylor to sue us now.
Yeah.
But like, I know people like Shake It Off is the one that really blew up on this record. And yeah, I can get a little corny. I'll be damned if I hear it somewhere and I don't like at least tap my foot to it. But like Wildest Dreams is great. Blank Space, I think, is gorgeous.
God.
Like there's so many other tracks on this. And again, no skips. To me, this is the first Taylor record out of all the ones that we've listed that I truly think is no skips.
I'm so glad you said Wildest Dreams, because like I'm glad you have the tracks in front of you, because I'm like, yeah, 1989's got some good stuff, but
And they
Wildest
played
Dreams.
Wildest Dreams at my friend's wedding 2 weeks ago. It was like the bride walked out to Wildest Dreams.
For whatever reason, Wildest Dreams is one of like my top 5 Taylor songs. Maybe I don't know.
It's
I love
beautiful.
that song.
Does it have
a lot.
anything to do with Scott Eastwood being in
Yeah,
the
I was gonna
music
say.
video?
No,
Because that's why it's there for me.
I found that out yesterday. I was watching a bunch of Taylor music videos and stuff to like grab images for one of our games, and I'm like, hey, Scott Eastwood. There he is.
I
Also,
did a
Lucas
quiz
Till.
before this on BuzzFeed to figure out what like Taylor Swift era I was. And none of that shit's true because like you're gonna get something super random, but also maybe not because it gave me reputation. But it asked me for a music video boyfriend, and without even looking at the rest of them, I immediately hit Scott Eastwood Wildest Dreams.
Well, it's not
I
gonna
didn't
be the,
bother with the rest of
Amazing.
them.
It's not going to be the guy from Willow. I think that's like, I don't know. He's all right. 1989, Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know if much really needs to be said. We're just gonna leave it at no skips, and we're just gonna keep
we
going.
are.
Yeah.
100%.
Alice,
Mic drop.
No,
okay.
I completely. This is all like Chris. This is my Taylor Swift out. This was me being an adult and going, and I had more adult friends that were like, "New Taylor Swift, let's go listen to it." And I'm like, we are all 2014, so I was 28. And I'm like, I can't listen to that. And then secretly, I'm like, this shit is popping.
You put
and then
Style
now
on
I'm
and you're like,
like,
oh shit.
yo,
I
as soon as I heard Blank Space, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, so I'm one of those, you guys all know that I cry. So when I hear a song that just hits, regardless of if it's happy, sad, whatever, it makes me cry. Like I tear up. And listening to Blank Space literally made me cry because I'm like, this poor, like, I appreciate that she's doing this, but fuck the world because she has to do this. You know what I mean? Like she has to poke fun at herself and this whole thing that should be a normal thing for a 24-year-old to be doing. And she can't do it because we are judgmental assholes.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to say, like, rightfully, like, people talk about how amazing the blank space music video is, because like that, you want spicy Taylor, that's some
That's
spicy Taylor
Spicy
right
Taylor
there.
right there. Yeah,
But
it is.
that's
for
crazy.
me,
Yeah.
the music video for Style, bro,
Oh, it's beautiful.
bro, artistically,
great.
that is one of my favorite things she's ever done. Because it's
20
not about,
bitches in the hospital room. Oh,
like,
That whole era of Taylor Swift, like I was, again, like this was, it wasn't like pop music is now, but I mean the hits, the singles off of that were great. But some of the again, like the actual album cuts off of this that weren't played on radio all the time. Maybe they are now because again, Swifties are taking everything, all the old album cuts and making them hits in retrospect 10 years later. But this was her, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere, shut the hell up. Like, and these were all like anthems to me. And
no one can make fun of Taylor Swift more than Taylor Swift can make fun
Right.
of Taylor Swift.
The
That's what, I
self-awareness
feel like
is
that's
real.
what she did with
Oh,
this
and that-
album.
And we're gonna get into like that, like the pinnacle of that eventually.
right.
I think recently.
Like this whole like 1989 rollout and the songwriting on this, like it's I'm not one of those like hopeless romantic types. If anything, I'm romantically hopeless.
But are you
But-
a new romantic?
But the vision, her songwriting, it created a picture for me. Like I am not, a 20-something white woman. No, but I'll
Had
be
me fooled,
damned.
Chris. You had me fooled.
I'll be damned. I'm trying. I did the hair thing. I'm a little closer. But I'll be damned if I listen to these records and I listen to these songs. I'm like, this is great. Like this is just, it's one of my favorite pop records ever. I love it so much, and I can talk about this album all day and watch all the music videos as we should, but no skips.
Okay, so we got no skips all the way up. Personally, just because of my, well, hang on.
Jesse forgot that it existed.
Stop now. I'm looking at what's left. Yeah.
I'm gonna have some controversial opinions about what's left. I think.
Oh hell!
yeah,
on
probably
earth.
me too. So
This is
Oh,
as much as we've been
Gosh.
talking through this is when probably.
Killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, no, I think 89 would hit my top 3. And there's 2 that I really want up and no skips. So
yeah,
I'm
me
hoping...
too. I'm scared what the rest of you want.
Oh, it's gonna be some poll consulting. I can see it now.
Let's rip the Band-Aid off with this next one because I'm
Yeah.
very curious to hear.
All right. right.
I mean, I'll start with Reputation.
Please.
Personally, with Reputation, I would put it as in the top spot for under scrutiny. And here's why. I think it has, it goes back to the idea that it has a lot of bangers. Like I fucking love Getaway Car. I love This Is Why We Can't Have Nice Things. I would probably even put it at I would put it in between, if anything, if not there, I would put it in between Speak Now and Fearless under Long Live. I would be okay with doing that.
Like
There's
right here?
just like right there. Yes. It's not a no skip for me because I do skip some songs on it.
You're
But
fucking nuts.
it's not
She's fucking nuts for that. Oh, you're gonna hate what I'm gonna say.
okay. So it's not a no skips for me. And that's also simply because there's some things on here that we haven't discussed that are no skips in my mind.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Oh God. Okay. I feel like this is about to turn into a bit of a divided right down the middle. If I think what's happening is what's happening here. For me, I would at least put this in Long Live. At least I could be convinced to put it in no skips, but Long Live is like my floor for this one.
Oh shit.
So yeah, so this is gonna be very divided. I feel
Hopefully,
like. amongst the
thank you,
group.
Taylor, for at least keeping it in the top half of the graph here.
Yeah, because
I'm
Reputation
hoping.
is in my top 5 for sure. So yeah, I love this version of Taylor very much. I feel like this is her really branching out for the first time. Like we've seen her experiment with other things, but this is her really taking a step in a new direction and doing it very, very well. I love this album. I love Dancing with Our Hands Tied. I Did Something Bad. Don't Blame Me. Like, I could just keep going and going and going down the list. Like, I love it. I vibe with this album really, really hard. I love the whole aesthetic. I love the things she's going with. So for me, like, again, we could kind of debate where it goes, but Under Scrutiny is not where it goes. Absolutely not.
Chris.
Okay. Off top, how can I say this without coming off like an ass?
If it's anything in the realm of what I'm thinking, you can't.
Look what you made me do is not good. The song is not good. I don't think it's good. When she first released it, and the whole, I knew what she was trying to do, and she still succeeded in doing so. But I just wish the song was better. I don't like the what's that? It's the same guys that wrote "Too Sexy for My Shit." Like, no, hard pass. But with that said, I think Reputation as a whole, the album is way overhated. Like, people are so quick to say this is her worst album,
and the fact that it got no Grammy attention.
And maybe again, it was because like, this was, if we're gonna say experimental for the first time in this whole discussion, this was it. At least at this point in her career,
it still stands out in the pantheon of her albums as being unique.
And I know there are a few others down here with eerie cover art that are probably more experimental in hindsight. But at the time, Reputation was her holy shit. Like, what the hell is this?
Mad, bro. She mad.
I love
That's what that was.
Delicate. I love Gorgeous.
It's so good, and the music video makes it better somehow.
I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. I love Ready For It. I think it's a great intro for this album.
Slaps.
And Allison mentioned Getaway Car, like New Year's Day. Like, there are some great songs on here that I really, really enjoy. Looking at the rest of this though, and looking at what's coming next, I'm cool with putting it in the long list. Personally, I would prefer Fearless over this one. But this album got dunked on by critics, and I feel like people who aren't fans of hers didn't like this solely because of the sharp right turn that she had made sonically at the time. I love a good amount of this record. Shit, I pretty much at least like everything but Look What You Made Me Do, the lead single. But there's some good shit on here, and let's not act like she doesn't have good shit on here. I'm tired of talking about Reputation as if it's bad. It's not, and it's because it sounds different does not make it bad. Sorry.
Our poll with the most votes on it happens to be Reputation.
Of course.
Yeah, obviously.
I bet.
Before I get into my thoughts, I will just go over. Nobody voted. I forgot that you had existed. That shows up very rarely on these polls. So
just wait. We got to put something down there at some point.
I know. Things are going to move. It has 17% on Under Scrutiny, 17% on Long Live, and 67% on No Skips.
Okay.
My people have shown themselves. But being that we are a house divided here, I think the break-even point is about where it is.
Yeah,
because for me, it's No Skips. For the poll, it's No Skips. Taylor said at least Long Live. Allison
Jesse said No Skips?
Yeah, this is Jesse's favorite, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
It's your favorite Taylor record?
I said I wanted to cover some stuff before I got into my conversation. So now I can get into my conversation. Yeah. Lauren has been listening to Taylor Swift hard our entire, relationship, marriage, whatever. And I'm always was that like, that's nice, honey. Like, just tapping her on the shoulder. I'm like, I'm glad you like it.
It's cute. Yeah,
it's cute. It's cute. And then she's like, I'm going to make you listen to stuff. And I'm like, fine, we're in the car. I can't run away.
I just want to say, before this goes any further, I was getting play-by-plays from Lauren as this is all happening, by the way. Like, I'm getting text updates as this is happening.
About to queue up Reputation. This man's life is about to change forever.
She's bouncing around and stuff. So, and then Reputation songs start playing. And I was like, oh, fuck, what is this? This is like Taylor in the club? This is Club Taylor? And then...
I mean, yeah, in a way.
Everything was like my first time listening to... hang on, I'm gonna make sure I don't get it mixed up. I Did Something Bad is the claps, right? Best fun I ever had. Yeah. I was clapping along with it the first time I listened to it, like when I had the breaks in it, and then Ready For It's great, Gorgeous great. We got Delicate on there, but this is like
Gorgeous
the
is
one
so underrated. It's so
where,
underrated.
with the ding. Yeah, this is the one where like when I'm listening to full Taylor albums at a time instead of just a shuffle, I go start to finish, no qualms, have nothing I even think about skipping because everything I bop so hard with. There's some big ones that I'm missing. Oh,
Jesse, are you
yeah.
also logged in as Lauren, leaving comments in the?
Nope, never seen it.
Hi, Lauren, love you.
Hi, Lauren.
Wife votes no skips, so I think maybe we have to adjust it open. No, that is actually Lauren. Thank you, Bedore. That's the one I was just about to say. Don't Blame Me. It was Hard Stop, my favorite Taylor Swift song, for like a good solid few months. I think now it's debatable. It still could be. It's in the top 3. I love everything about that song, and even though I have no singing talent whatsoever, when it pops on, I want to scream along with Don't Blame Me. Plus, it was seeing like the performances and like the Reputation tour and like when she performs in Eras was the first time for me where I had like an attraction awakening with Taylor Swift, and it was specifically tied to that song. I always thought she was cute. I thought it was
that's what you meant. Okay.
I was just like little cute Taylor Swift, and then she did Don't Blame Me. I was like, nah.
1989 didn't do it for you.
I wasn't
Don't
there.
Blame Me
was,
from the Eras tour performance
Yes.
is what had awoken Jesse. Meanwhile, I'm just gonna go rewatch Casper and have Devin Sawa whisper, "Can I keep you?" into Christina Ricci's ear to have that same feeling.
So we talked about all the different albums that we could go on forever about. Reputation is mine, and not fighting for it harder right now physically hurts me, but I might cut my losses and just deal with the fact that it's in the uppers.
You know what? What if we because everything's gonna change here? Let's just put Reputation at no skips. Let's put it there for now.
Taylor, are you comfortable? Because I have to have a majority vote of comfortable. Chris can throw a vote to it.
Like
Taylor,
we can put it there for now. I don't know if it's gonna stay there with what's coming up. But we can.
It's 100% not going to stay there with what's coming up, because I got 2 coming up that I am going to fight tooth and nail for.
But
all right, the
real question is what's going to get bumped to the bottom. That's the real question.
I think this is we don't have 3 in anything, so nothing has to move on this next one, but it's going to be all shuffling pretty quick here. I think we seem to unanimously agree that the next one's overhated, but any Taylor Swift album that's not liked is pretty much overhated by default, right? Lover.
No skips.
Passionate Lover fan. Wow.
I love this album. I do not care what anyone says. I was going to this album to me from start to I'm pulling up the track list now.
So Allison, are you and me the only ones that like the song Me?
I think it's great. I think it's fun. I prefer Me as a first release over Look What You Made Me Do. Personally. I just saying. I think Paper Rings, I think everything on this album I will listen to start to finish. I love that it comes up and starts with I Forgot That You Existed. It is it's how people feel about Reputation is how I feel about Lover. I think it is overhated. I think it is a great album. I had a blast with this one. It's the one that she's doing with I think this is like is this the first one she did with Jack Antonoff?
I believe so. This is the first one that not under Scooter.
Right, but I'm saying is this the one that she wrote and recorded with Jack that Jack Antonoff was like one of the producers?
I'm pretty sure this was where they started, yeah.
Yeah, this is where they started their collab together. And don't get it twisted. I love me some Jack Antonoff. I love me some Bleachers. I love me some Fun. I love me some Steel Train. So she broke away from like the Ryan Tedder and the other production, all the that she was doing, and she's now on her own. She's working with Jack Antonoff. This is her breakaway. This is her first thing that is owned by her. Bedore, I love that you're on board with me with this being a great album. This is a no skip for me.
Quick thing. Jack Antonoff had a hand in 1989. I was going to jump in and be like, but I didn't want to sound stupid.
No. You're right.
He had a hand in Out of the Woods and I Wish You Would. Another great song.
So,
Right,
but this
right.
was like their first
This
full
is like their
collaboration.
first
The full
full album.
Okay,
record.
okay.
Yes,
No,
yes,
wait,
yes.
no, they collabed on Reputation. Reputation was the first because there's the video of them going through Getaway Car. So
Oh,
they
yeah, that's right,
So it
that's
was,
right.
so it was
The-
Reputation
like-
and then Into Lover. But
That's right. Okay.
You guys, if you haven't watched, like, there's like, it's like a 40-minute behind the scenes of like Reputation, and it's so funny. Not to backtrack for a second, but listening to how Taylor came up with her like rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta is so. She was like, it's like middle of the night, and she just like woke up and like recorded it on her phone. She's like, I have an idea, and then they played it and messed with it, and she kept trying to like make it sound a certain way. I was dying laughing at. Anyways, Lover.
Okay. Lover.
So Allison has strong thoughts on Lover.
Coming in hot.
Chris.
I know I'm the one that introduced the Lovers Overhated into the chat, which is I still believe is true, because it's almost like the forgotten Taylor record, like because all of them, you know, especially post 1989, every Taylor Swift record has been like a event, you know, but Lover, it kind of just happened because like Me was the big single that not everybody loved, and what was it, like The Archer and The Man. And Lover, obviously the title track, which by the way, the remix of Shawn Mendes, ass, but it's him. He's the ass part about that, just to put that out there.
Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince, Paper
Another
Rings.
good one, yep.
Oh,
Paper Rings is maybe my favorite on there.
I'd be, because I'm curious on Taylor's POV, and Jesse, if I wonder where you would
Cruel
place this.
Summer. I mean,
Cruel Summer had a
Well,
revival.
Cruel Summer
this
is
year.
the
Yeah.
song that they use for the Eras trailer. So
Yeah.
obviously it's
Right.
it's wicked.
I would put this. I'm trying to find a happy medium with this.
I'm really curious where you're going with this. Like, I need to know, because I need to know how to interject how I feel about it.
I'm gonna save my placement, and I'm just gonna stop talking.
Okay.
Because before I say something and then Allison wrings my neck from Florida to Chicago, I am going to say Lover is long live.
Ooh.
I'll
So-
take it.
Somewhere in there. Again, I wouldn't put Speak Now, but Fearless. So I'm trying to find a happy medium. I'm cool at the moment with just putting it somewhere in long live.
I'm just gonna place it there
See,
while we
No, you're not. That's not where it's going. It's going right above red under scrutiny. There's
Yes!
no way.
Let's
There's
go!
no
Taylor!
way. Chris, you got it. Come on. Don't leave me stranded here,
I'm
Chris.
sorry,
Help
I'm
me
sorry.
out.
I got scared. I thought you were gonna be like, "Oh, Lover, no skips." I assumed and I thought wrong.
So Chris is saying like about here. Taylor's saying about here. Do you have commentary for that, or is that just you just throwing that out there and backing out?
Okay. I'm kind of with what Lauren said. 50% of it I love, and the other 50% of it I like. So like it's not that there's like anything I necessarily dislike on the album, like,
Maybe
but
some
the
of the more
50%
forgettable
that
tracks.
I love. The 50% that I'm like I'm okay with.
And
Like,
there's
it's-
not a lot of 50% Taylor albums.
Yeah. So I'm putting it like I would put it under
so
scrutiny,
mad.
but
It's all right. It's all right. My next pick is probably gonna be even hotter. So
Oh,
Before-
Christ.
Before I get
Oh,
like
no.
thrown out, I'm gonna look at the polls real quick just to see where because I'm scared. I don't wanna
For
be
the
the
sake of the rest, because we have Folklore, Evermore, Midnights. Because I'm assuming we're not. Are we doing the OGs? Are we doing
no.
the-
I put those to a side because
We're
those
gonna end
first-
at Midnights.
Yeah, we had like
Yeah.
collective thoughts
Okay.
on Red Speak Now and Fearless.
Okay. Yeah. Not well. I'm willing to listen out on placement for Lover. Or
I'm
am
not.
I?
I'm just kidding.
okay,
So-
here's the thing. Here's the thing. We can leave it in that spot for now. I just don't think it's gonna stay there.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with leaving it there for now, kind of like we did with a couple of the other ones. But we might have to have a discussion depending
Just
on how.
wait till you guys hear what I think is no skips next.
Allison, without spoiling, have we already named your favorite Taylor record?
No.
Okay, cool.
Nice. We also
Okay.
haven't named. Well, Red is one of Lauren's. The other one's still out here. So for me, Lover is like the tip top of Under Scrutiny.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, it's not 50-50.
Allison on the
It's
island
more
over
like-
here.
It's all right. Look, not everyone can be right. It's
But-
okay.
I thought I'd be the one, and then Taylor came in hot with the under scrutiny thing. I thought I was ready to get dunked on.
It's
My
more
take on it.
it's more 70-30 for me, but I will say for Allison's sake, Lover is holding a 50% no skips on the poll, 10% long live, 30% under scrutiny, and
All
one-
Allison's burners. It's her burner Twitter
so
pages.
since we have Allison and the poll at no skips, a few of us at under scrutiny, I'm gonna put it at the bottom of long
Yeah.
live
Leave it there for now.
I said
Leave it
I'm
there.
cool with long live at
leave
the
it there.
moment. Yeah.
at the moment.
And I'm willing to be convinced because again, like Reputation, I thought would be cute for us to put at no skips
All right, shit's moving.
for the
All
sake
right.
of conversation.
All right.
This is gonna get. I did not expect the tier part of this to be 2 hours long, but here we are.
Can we do folklore first? I know Evermore is next, but can we do folklore first?
This is Evermore. Isn't it?
Oh, wait.
This is folklore, isn't it?
No, that's
No,
Evermore.
Evermore.
No, that's Evermore.
Did I mix them up?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's
All right,
okay.
well, I'm new. All right, folklore. That is. That was supposed to be next.
Can we all say it on 3? 1, 2,
Fuck.
3. No,
No
skip.
Yes.
No.
Let's go.
Okay, that
Um,
has to be above Reputation because we all agreed that it's no skip.
100%.
Like
I
so-
honestly-
Three of you did.
I think it goes
Jesse.
you can be
1989,
wrong, Jesse.
Evermore, Reputation, if we're going to keep Reputation up there. 1989, Folklore,
Yeah.
Reputation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I said it when I was talking about 1989 that is that her favorite or is that her best record? No, it's not because Folklore is her best album.
Damn.
This
Like,
is my favorite Taylor Swift album.
Yep.
It's her
Yep.
best one.
Yep.
This is my
1989 is my
favorite.
favorite, but Folklore is the best one.
Lauren, you get it. You get it, Lauren. You understand.
This is my absolute favorite. This is the one. I mean, I love 1989 because 1989 is my like where I said I started becoming a Taylor Swift fan. But the way that she released, we all just woke up one day and went on Instagram and she had a story that she released an album. And then this was when I tell you again, songs that make me cry, the one that she does with Exile with Bon Iver.
Yes.
Holy shit.
That
Every-
wrecks faces.
I will say about this album, it's my favorite Taylor album, but I will say the power of this album, I'm going to out him. Jacob is not a Taylor Swift fan. When Folklore
What?
came out, he would not stop listening to this album with me. We just sat there together and listened to it over
It's
and
beautiful.
over. and
This is
over
me
and
trying.
over.
Literally, this is me trying. I wanted to curl up in a ball and like cry on the bathroom floor, like after taking a shower. Like,
Oh, this is cry time Taylor part 2 because
Yeah.
I said that Red was part 1.
Yeah. No,
And-
this is.
Or My Tears Ricochet, or as Lauren and I call it, the Obi-Wan song because of TikTok.
I know this. I'm going to contradict everything I just said about 89, but I would take a step further in saying Folklore should be placed in front of 1989. Like Aaron Dessner might be the best thing to happen in Taylor Swift's career.
Mhm.
Like, because I mentioned Reputation being the experimental portion of Taylor, but it was still pop music. This is like nothing she's made ever in her career. Nothing.
you're not going to get an argument from me putting this in front of 1989. Like,
That's 2 votes.
I will stand on whatever soapbox and say, like, as much as I love 1989, it's my gateway drug to pop music, to modern pop music. Folklore is her best album.
Yeah,
And
I agree with you.
I'd put it
it's-
in front of 1989. Let's make it number 1.
Cardigan,
The
Allison
unexpected
mentioned
shift.
Exile, The Last Great American Dynasty, the one, like there's just so many great tracks. And again, I remember listening to this. I was living in Oklahoma at the time, and I was driving back to see my family in Chicago, and it was a 12-hour drive. This record was one of my queued up things. I stopped in St. Louis because I was a mess. I was a mess, and I had to I literally pumped the brakes because I wasn't ready for it, pun intended. And this was after it won the Grammy for Album of the Year. I'm like, oh great, the Taylor record, of course it did. And then I listened to it, I'm like, oh shit, like maybe like this was like, holy hell. Like I love this, and out of the 2 folky records that she put out, or folk adjacent or pop folk, whatever subgenre you want to place that and Evermore under. Spoiler alert, this one's my favorite of the two, obviously. It sounds like it's all of our favorites. Jesse, I'm eager to see your thoughts on Folklore. But this is her best album, and yeah, it's fucking great.
The freaking Long Pond studio sessions. Bro.
I have the record around here somewhere. Like
watching it, I watched it on Disney Plus the day it came out. Like
Yep.
I obsessed.
Just the way she talks about the songwriting process of that album.
And just like the time she's writing it, the world has gone to complete shit. We are all shut up. We don't know what's going on. We're in the throes of the
Feels like
pandemic.
we haven't moved in years.
It's seriously. And like she comes out with literally the anthem for Sad Girl Autumn. It was like pumpkin spice. It was Folklore and then pumpkin spice latte season. And it was like the perfect mesh of like Sad Girl Autumn. And like it is the aesthetic that I try to go for, even though I live in Orlando.
Just sonically how like it's not like over the top pop music like how she had done before. Even on Lover, like what Allison, you said, me being the lead single to Lover, like you would have, if someone had never heard of Taylor Swift, which at this point is very hard to do that, to find someone who's never heard of this person. But if you were to present someone who had never heard of this artist, you know, a song off of here, say like Betty, right? And then play them Me. Yeah, this is the same artist that made both songs on consecutive records. Like it is insane. The time the pandemic changed a lot of shit, especially for musicians not being able to go tour. But my God, her being trapped in the cabin for a year and writing some of the saddest songs I've ever fucking heard in my life. Like this is her victory lap. This
is the one
Taylor's
that I
victory
love. The fans that went through and like broke down the storytelling, like what the story was within this album. And like I don't know if I don't understand all of it. I don't follow all of it, but like knowing that like she hasn't debunked any of it. I love that she just sits back and let people think what they want to think. And
the anonymity
generally they're kind of right with it, on point, or it makes sense. And I think this was my favorite album that she's also put out that came with a whole conspiracy of a story to it. And I loved it.
One of my favorite things after this album came out was going on YouTube and watching people react to this album who were like, you know, had never listened to a Taylor Swift song or who had only heard like the singles, like the pop singles, and like, yeah, I've heard Shake It Off and I've heard this, and then they sit down and they break down Folklore and people just like don't know what to do with themselves. Like
It's
they're just like, I don't know what to do with this. And that's but I fell down that hole of watching so many videos of people just like discovering this album and having to reorient like what their opinion of Taylor Swift was as a musician. Like this album, like I know people talk about, you know, other albums being her biggest albums and doing things for her career. This album got her, I personally think, so many fans just from other genres of music that never would have listened to her otherwise.
100%.
And set up the absolute monster that became Midnights. Like this album to me set up and was the springboard for how absolutely huge Midnights and the Eras tour is. Like this just opened so many doors for her. Like it's
her victory lap.
Yeah.
Like at this point, like what else does she have to prove? After the release of this album, what the fuck else does she have to prove to any fan of music? If you don't like her as a person, fine. But let's not act like she has the ability to make bad songs or bad music. Yeah. She's just look at that top row at the moment are no skips, right? Folklore, 89, Reputation. Like those are three drastically different records and three very different versions of this person. And I think Folklore is just the creme de la creme. But Jesse Swift, you've been very silent. You've just been listening to us gush over this record.
Yeah. So Folklore is like when I started coming into listening to Taylor Swift, I was used to listening to different types of music, right? I liked some metal and rock and occasionally pop and stuff, but I like that Reputation just went hard, and that's like I like the sound of it, and so I gravitated towards that. Folklore was one that Lauren kept trying to introduce me to because she loved it so much. She kept playing songs. And just from like secondhand listening, like where you don't have the time to actually absorb it, and just having it in the background, it wasn't grabbing me, and I was feeling it. But I've been like diving hard into like the discography and just listening to her entire like track set over and over and over again. And the more I did that, the more I listened to lyrics and stuff and quality of songs and the productions and things. I was like, wow, Folklore is really special. It's a very special album. Mm-hmm. And I said that out of my 3 no skips that I personally would have up here, I only have 1 in the top 3 right now. It's making me nervous that by the time the end of this, that I might not have any of mine in the top 3.
Obviously, you love Reputation, but
one's up there right now. It's just not in there, and then one's still to come. So
interesting. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think for me, I don't know. If I was gonna like mess with Folklore, it would still probably be in this area. Like the lowest I would put it in is the top of Long Live, which I'm not
put it back where it was, sir.
I know. Everyone, calm down, relax. It's great. I don't have that much more to say.
All right, let's
I love how that and 89, we all just like the 3 of us are just like, don't you dare.
I like how you all are ready to like take skin for these 2, and I'm just clinging to life. Be like, let her stay.
I'm letting you love Reputation, dog. I'm out here. I'm defending your love for it.
Taylor Robinson left me on red when I was telling her how much I love Reputation, and she's like, oh, I love that for you. And I was like, what does that mean? Hello? What does that mean?
It's like, that's great, Jesse. Next. But Folklore, it's her best album. No,
which is
Evermore
why Evermore not hitting the same with me as Folklore makes me so sad.
Now things have to shift because it's not going here, right?
To me, if anything falls under the I forgot you existed, it would be Evermore.
No shit. Okay.
I was, with how much I loved Folklore, with Evermore, immediately following it up, it felt to me like a B-side track. There were some really good ones on it. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed Champagne Problems. Who doesn't love No Body, No Crime? Because fucking asshole, right? Like the guy deserved it. But
I'm looking at the polls because that's a take.
It's a take. But it's my, and then that's just my take. I don't think when you came out with such a strong, like, oh my God, that Folklore was.
I don't know. Can you see that?
Is that no skips?
Yeah, that's 70% no skips.
I mean, again, like, you guys also know how much I enjoy. I put Lover as no skips. So, like, it is what it is. People are going to think I'm wrong in this, and I get that. But to have Evermore follow up what Folklore was, it just did not hit as well for me.
So, for you personally, Evermore is below debut?
I mean,
it's literally what it is. It's not quality.
I don't go back and listen. When I think of going back and listening to Taylor Swift, Evermore is not even. I would probably listen to something off of all of these other albums first before I played something.
Okay, and that's what that placement means. It's just like it's the last thing listened to.
And everyone's going to disagree with me, and that's fine. We're okay with that. I'm okay with it. I know that it is a hot take, but that's my feelings.
Taylor's poker face, because I cannot read you for the life of me.
Lauren's upset.
I love how Chris is trying to gauge like my face, like what I'm about to say, and I'm just
because I want to jump in, but I'm like if I come in hot.
I mean, I can be the one to come in hot if you don't want to go first. Like that's up to you.
No, but Allison took
I'm letting this play out. Like I don't want to have any influence on the placement of Evermore.
Allison took the words right out of my mouth, and I don't want this. It sounds bad. This has a negative connotation, but it does sound like Folklore B-sides. That's the aesthetic of this whole record. That's the vibe. And I am just, and confession time. before re-listening to her discography for this, I listened to that album once from start to finish. And I couldn't help but compare it to Folklore upon its release. And again, I mentioned earlier, I was late to the Folklore party, so by default, I was late to the Evermore party as well. And I'm like, this is just Folklore, but not. And,
and she even, when she released it, she even released, like, she put in the preference of it that Folklore needed a companion album, and this was the companion album too. So she even, without maybe even meaning to, set it up as a companion, which then when I wasn't as impressed with the songs, with that idea of like the Folklore B-sides coming up. Is her debut better than Evermore? No. Is Red better than Evermore as an album? I don't think so. I would go as far as saying that probably any of her earlier stuff, like Speak Now, Fearless, like sonically and from a music making standpoint, Evermore is probably a better album. But I'd much rather listen to Fearless, to if you put Reputation and Evermore in front of me, I'm picking Reputation, and I'm listening to that first. But that's me. And I know Lauren's gonna wring my neck, but
and Bador.
They don't have taste.
real quick.
Listen. Before anyone comes for us, we're all just gonna blame Jesse for making us do this. Like,
That's fair.
It's his fault that we're having to rank this stuff in the first place. Like, to me, I don't want to rank Taylor Swift albums. I just want to listen to all of them and be happy they all exist. But no, we're here doing this instead, getting our, fighting each other and having Lauren hate us, and now it's become a whole thing. So
Allison's pissed because the lovers and the long live.
Look, hey, again,
wait. No, this is payback.
I'm
for this.
sitting here fuming that we have her self-titled under scrutiny. Right? So, like,
yeah, Taylor came in hot to start this.
Yeah,
with the self-titled.
This is payback for like the 8 weeks of doing the like nerd movie face-off thing and all those fun conversations we had to do and arguing about the 2016 Suicide Squad.
See, I love how you're punishing everyone else, like not just me for that. Like, you're making everyone else who wasn't there also suffer for it.
Well, yeah, but Allison and Chris are mine to suffer. They're under the FNR.
Okay,
umbrella.
right.
Yeah,
Not after tonight.
Special.
This is where I quit.
Okay. All right. Can I just rip off the Band-Aid and talk about Evermore?
Please.
I don't want to wait any longer to do this.
Please.
Okay, there are 4 or 5 songs off Evermore that I love. I Will Defend Nobody, No Crime, Gold Rush, Willow, and Ivy with my entire soul. Like, those songs, I will listen to.
Ivy might be the best on the album.
And those songs, I listen to over and over again, and I will defend them. I like Tolerate It. I like Champagne Problems. But like,
Tolerate It makes me sob.
I just don't, like, if we're having to be brutal here and we're having to make cuts and make rankings, like, for me, this is either under scrutiny, but I don't feel like it's going to fall there once we talk about Midnights. Like, because something inevitably is going to have to end up under.
One of these is going to be. Yep.
I don't like how you said that.
Sorry?
About Midnights. Or are you saying that's going to shift everything?
No. I'm
Midnights
just saying,
is probably going to shift a lot.
The way that you've set this up, where we can only have 3 per tier, that means one album has to go under I Forgot That You Existed no matter what. That's what I'm saying. So even if we don't...
Which is why I was trying to put this down here early to avoid pain.
No, we're not putting that there. I'm telling you right now. I'll get down the street and I'll leave. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I will just walk away off camera. But what
leave the camera on.
Leave the camera on as you walk away.
Leave the camera on and I'll just walk away. My point being, there's no reason we should have to put a single album under I Forgot That You Existed. But because you created it this way, I'm just saying I don't think there's a way we can avoid putting this one under I Forgot You Existed. I just don't think.
I think this is when you look at her entire discography and you see, and literally jaws were on the floor for Folklore.
Well,
like that.
Lauren's is on there for a different reason right now.
Like, but what? Huh? So anyway, I know, I'm sorry, but like when you promote this as the companion piece to Folklore, and how, like, when it is promoted as the companion piece to folklore, and then the songs that are like Kara said, the songs that are good are really, really good. But you get you it's just like I would listen to Exile before I would listen to Coney Island,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
I would listen to Cardigan before I listen to Willow. I can go through, not that they're bad songs, but I could go through the entire thing, and there's always going to be something that I'm going to listen to before I listen to Evermore. And like, that's what makes me so sad. Like, I hate that we have to put this because again, Jesse just likes to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
But I just, it is what it is.
Look,
So
this
it's-
is we're
If
not
this was
dissing
in
Evermore.
person, it'd be Lauren versus Allison versus the besmirchment of Evermore and the praise of Lover. I think that's where they are like so polar opposite.
I haven't been keeping up with the chat a ton, but before we do Midnights, I want to know to the folks who are chiming in what your no skips are. What would you put the 3 no
Yeah.
skips would be?
Yeah,
I
I
love
need
that.
the
If you
chat.
can only
Oh,
pick
I
three.
need the chat's no.
Like
They
skips.
can only
Adore,
pick
Lauren.
3. They can only pick 3
Yeah,
no
what's
skips.
your 3 no skips? You can only
There's
get
only room
3.
for 3. So I need to know what
By
everyone's no
Jesse's
skips are.
parameters,
Yeah.
only
Look,
3.
I'm gonna rip the band-aid off with Midnights.
And the chat has to tell us what their one I forgot you existed was, because
Well,
you
I
have to
didn't- I
pick
didn't-
one. You
Not
gotta
that
pick
it
one.
matters because of majority vote. I would not have Evermore, and I forgot you existed. It would definitely be higher, but this is all shuffled for how I would put things. I like Evermore more than some things up here I'm not going to say. But it would definitely be like, at worst, like here-ish, but that's fine. Majority rules.
I just realized I never properly voted. But
Properly
Yes.
vote, Chris.
let's talk about Midnights.
All right.
Let's talk about Midnights.
Midnights.
The final
goes-
placement.
I
Yeah.
would put Midnights in Long Live
Oh shit.
without bumping Lover
That's it.
because
We're
I
not-
love
we're
that
not-
album.
We're not moving anything until we get a full disclosure of what
Oh,
everybody
shit.
says.
Just leave it
'cause
there
it's
for
gonna be
now.
wild. Yeah.
Oh,
But-
shit. Oh no.
I would see. Here's what I would do.
Oh no.
I would probably move Fearless to top under scrutiny to
Oh,
put
no.
Midnights into Long Live.
I don't think you're gonna get backing to keep Lover in Long Live. I
I'm
don't
not,
think.
and that's fine because I've gotten my way on everything else. So
You got
Okay, all right. I'm
you
just
guys-
gonna
you-
jump in here.
you
I'm just
all-
gonna jump in here.
Runs
I'm just
off.
gonna jump in. All right. Midnight's like
Say
I
it,
made
say it.
so I
Say
made
it.
my own little chart here of kind of how I would do this on my little piece of paper here. And I put it like just above where Evermore is. So for me, Midnight's is like
Christ.
under scrutiny, and I wouldn't put it above Lover. Like I just wouldn't do that.
This
So
is-
like
This is gonna be
to me,
straw that breaks the
to me,
screw.
it's somewhere under scrutiny because it's not better than Lover, it's not better than Fearless, and it's not better than Speak Now. Like it's just not. So that's how I feel about it.
as long as it keeps Lover up there, I am fine with where.
Just really quick poll coverage. 50% no skips, 30% long live, and then 10% for both under scrutiny and forgot you existed.
All right. Time for me
Chris?
to be mean.
Oh, Mean Nights. All right.
I don't like Midnights. Let me rephrase. I didn't love Midnights. Initially when it first came out, I listened to it a few times. I was in denial that I didn't love it. So I listened to it again, and I still don't love it.
Yeah.
I would no.
I'm so
I-
sad.
No.
I
No.
Midnights to me. Oh man, I can't put
Yeah.
this over.
I feel the same way about
Fearless.
Midnight that I feel about Evermore. I have like 4 songs that I like, and that's about it. Like,
Damn.
it's
Reputation and Midnights are the two that when I'm like talking to my phone, I'm like, "Hey Siri, play this album," and I just bounce between Midnights and Reputation, and like those are the two.
Shucks. I would put Midnights above Red and under scrutiny.
Oh no, Siri,
I can
don't
agree
actually
with
play
that.
it.
Oh, Jesse, is your phone gonna play?
I
it?
can agree with it being right underneath Lover and before Red. I can
So
go.
Allison doesn't get too mad. We can keep Lover.
I mean, that's
and
like
Long Live.
I feel like that's the lowest I could stomach, personally.
I
And
mean
Long
that's
Live?
way too high, but all right.
But here's the
Like-
thing: if it's there, and we can like have some semblance of okay,
If you're asking
We're
me,
done.
Reputation's not no skips. But
I know if you're asking me, I would have Lover where Reputation is, but that's also
I'd put Fearless where Reputation is.
ooh.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm not in love with Speak Now being in front of Fearless, but I know this is a collaborative thing, so I'm cool with.
I
Where
feel like
Fearless is at now.
collaboration-wise, this is about as good as this is gonna
I was
get.
gonna say because I was like, if we try to move, because like okay, here we're upset, and by we I mean me.
Let's not do that. No, let's not do that.
Here nothing moves.
I mean,
Any-
no.
anything- anything-
I think we should upset Jesse for having to make us put one under.
This
I
is
forgot you
upsetting.
existed.
This is upsetting.
So I think
I'm
Midnight
upset.
should also go there.
This is two
Put
tiers down
Midnight's
from where I want
behind
it.
the debut album.
Yeah.
Midnight's-
If all he had to do, Jesse, was say,
You
"We're
come
doing these-"
grab this mouse out of my cold dead hands.
All he had to do is keep a regular tier list, an S tier, A, B, C, D. Nothing would have been below B. Nothing.
Yeah, except for unless I
His-
said 3 per line.
Oh, if that's the case, we
Yeah,
would have.
that's why I think Jesse
we
should
would've
have
called
to
for our
suffer, and
deaths.
Midnight gets to go under I Forgot You Existed because he made up these rules that don't matter. So
Oh, so
like,
do you want to put Evermore and under?
No, look, we got
Midnight?
333. We're great.
uh,
Okay,
no,
let me ask you this: does anyone not prefer Midnight's to Evermore?
I would rather listen to Evermore,
Damn.
personally, but
I will listen
Oh.
to all of these other albums before I listen to Evermore.
Holy shit! I'd rather listen to Folklore.
Lauren's
let me
Lauren's
rephrase
losing her
that.
mind.
I
Sorry.
will. I shouldn't say album. There are songs on all of these albums that I would listen to before I listen to something on Evermore. I literally forget
Mike.
Evermore is a thing sometimes.
Mike, so Jesse made up this crazy ass rule that the three of us did not know beforehand that
Yeah.
only 3 could go in
Well,
each
because
row.
I didn't
Yeah, we
want
only
8
allowed to have-
albums in the top line.
No. Instead of having this be a fun conversation to celebrate the Eras tour and like have this be like, we love Taylor Swift. He's like, only 3 albums per tier, bitch. Deal with it. That's
He
what
I
did
said
call me a
1,
bitch.
2,
That was
3,
unrelated.
This is what happens when you make people rank things on a stream. This
Lauren-
is why this is not allowed to happen. Because
Lauren,
no
don't
one
get
is
mad at
saying
us.
Evermore is a bad album. She
I'm
has
just saying
phenomenal
Allison messed
songs.
everything up.
I didn't
No.
mess any-
How
no,
did
I
she
didn't.
mess everything up?
Why is this Allison's fault?
Because Lover is causing my wife high blood pressure.
Well, your wife, Lauren,
because
should
it's
come on the
high?
stream
It's too
and
I was
high?
gonna say, wait, Lauren should be on the stream to defend herself. Why is she not here? Why are we doing this
I
without her?
think she didn't want to put on pants.
I mean,
Well,
you
sure.
don't technically need pants, but fair enough.
In
this is all
theory,
Jesse's
yeah.
fault for making us do this.
It is Jesse's fault, yeah. So if anyone's gonna be mad at
I'm so
anyone,
pissed off. Look, none of we said up top. None of these albums are bad.
Nope.
We said that up top.
Look, I will even concede if people want to concede and put Fearless before Speak Now.
Oh, fuck
I am
yeah.
also okay with that.
No,
You're
we're not
speaking-
doing
you're
that.
speaking
Okay,
my
we're not
language.
doing that.
No, no.
Perfect.
if Allison gets to have Lover where she wants it, you guys are not touching Speak Now.
No,
It's
let
not
Allison
happening.
cook. Allison's cooking right now.
That is not
Let her
allowed
keep
to happen.
going.
All right. Okay, let's just
While we're
freeze
at it,
frame it.
Allison, let's bump
Let's-
up Fearless to no skips.
What's the wins? What's the wins and heartbreaks? My win is I got rep. My
Is this
heartbreak
it?
is Midnight.
Is this done? Are we
I,
done?
I think this is the.
I don't
the
think it's
most
gonna get
recent-
any better. Like, I don't know what else we can really do with this.
If we bump anything, we're upset. More upset, I should say.
Like,
we
what
got
do you
Folklore
want?
at number
What
one.
are you wanting? What's? I can see you want
Oh,
to say something.
Me?
What's- Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. If I were to do this, even with Jesse's parameters, it would still look a lot different.
Yeah.
But there were some great points made throughout the entire time we've been doing this, and I'm cool with how this looks as an amalgamation of the 4 of our thoughts on these records. I know Jesse is pissed because
As he
Listen,
deserves to be
listen,
for doing this.
I'm just saying, I had zero expectation that I'd be able to keep my baby in the top 3. So,
oh my man's
I'm
he's
good.
crashing.
His internet's just giving up. That's
Lauren
how bad he is.
unplugged the Ethernet cable, and
Lauren's like, enough of this shit, and she just unplugged the whole thing.
She just came in and just unplugged it. She didn't unplug it. She probably just shut the power down in the entire apartment. She's just like,
Well, see
flick
it,
the
but
switch.
now we all just get to run this stream how we want.
holy shit, he like for real like froze.
Froze. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we're here. Let's all agree that Reputation is not no skips. And
Well, okay, so what would you replace it with? What would you put? Fearless?
Fearless.
Okay, Allison, what would you put there? Lover?
I would put Lover there because that's where I had it.
Okay, see, and I would put Speak Now there.
I was about to say, would you
So,
put
like,
Speak Now? Okay.
I think that the Long Live section is probably exactly what it should be because we're not.
I agree.
That's
I
yeah.
just-
And
but
we
then-
just
but
gave
the
Jesse Reputation to give him Reputation. Oh, he's back.
You know what? What realistically should probably happen is we should probably have Reputation also on the Long Live.
Oh.
Like it should be 2 are on top and 4 are on the tier below it.
Oh,
I agree.
yeah. No, but then Jesse's gonna get super pissed.
No, but I'm saying if we were doing this just like without the 3 per rule, like the way we've talked
Oh,
about
okay,
it,
okay.
it'd
Oh, yeah,
probably
yeah,
be,
yeah.
like those 2 on top and then
Yup.
4 on the tier below it. Like that
I
would probably
agree
That
wholeheartedly.
I agree with.
Like
I would
those
agree
2
with that.
records, Folklore
I
in
would
1989, her best.
I would
record.
even allow for Reputation to go in front of Lover for the Long Live section.
I
Oh,
mean,
Just for you guys.
okay.
I would concede that one to you
See,
guys because I'm the only one who enjoys that whole album.
but
you
even
came in
just
hot
like,
with it too. I loved it.
but even just like shifting that one thing, I
Mhm.
think would like make
Yeah.
a big difference. But anyway,
I'm not gonna lie though. I thought that I was gonna be completely alone in my thoughts on Evermore. So I feel like that was
No,
the
I
big
just-
weight
I
on my
don't-
shoulder.
We got
I
you.
don't
dog.
listen to it as much as I wish I did because when I put it on, I'm just like, I've listened to the couple songs I really love, and then I'm good.
I was
I
fully
love that-
expecting Jesse to pull this back up, and the whole list is different.
He's like, oh no, my internet, and then he redoes the whole list.
Your top 3 is it's a Midnight's Reputation and Evermore.
Oh no, there's only 2 things and no skip. Bador's got it though. She said everything on Long Live should go on no skips, and everything below that should be Long Live. Yeah, there should only be 2. And I mean, that's how much fun would that be? I mean, everyone's like a lot more fun, probably.
It wouldn't make Lauren hate me, and she used to love me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now Lauren doesn't
Lauren-
want to be my. Lauren's probably like unfollowed me and blocked me on everything at this point.
Probably. I think she's working on that right now.
We're getting our names cursed and shit. Like it's a whole thing. But you know, if this is, I'm cool with this. I'm done with placements. I think this is the
close
best.
enough. It's close enough.
Yeah.
See, okay, Jesse's not happy with the list.
No, I mean, no,
That's
I'm,
what
close enough.
Jesse
It's
gets
close
for
enough.
making us
I'm-
do a list.
I'm as happy as
He
we are going to
doesn't
be
get to
with
be
4
happy.
people.
Like,
Lauren's
yeah.
no longer.
Damn, that's crazy. Jay was
Not
haymakers
The
in
RSVP that hasn't even been sent out yet.
I was about
Yeah,
to say,
she
where is
already
the?
sent her own mail being like, I'm
It's
not
getting-
able to come.
It's getting out of hand. I do have more fun things in store though. Allison, I was going to bring up earlier, and I think you just messaged already. You do have a time crunch. You got a
I
biggity
do.
bouncy?
Yes, I gotta head out because I gotta set up some stuff in my.
Hey, I thought this was going to be 45 minutes, not 2 hours, but this is what I deserve.
This is what you get.
I also have to head out. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a time crunch as well. But
why? How about alternative? Because I know Jesse planned a lot of fun things for this stream, and I know since
Well,
half
if there's
of us
a
have to
chat
go,
in here, we could have Chris versus the chat.
I'm gonna get creamed. What if we? Are we all seeing the Eras thing? The Eras movie?
Of course.
yeah,
I don't understand why we can't run this back.
And do a review of our Eras experience coupled with.
I would
the
love because
things-
I did not secure tickets because I underestimated Swifties going to the movies, but I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on it, and then we can do the trivia thing that Jesse had alluded to earlier.
yeah.
deal.
I would love to be a part of that, and maybe if I can go see the actual damn thing, I'll happily.
I'm not
contribute.
gonna get to see opening night, but probably one of the first few handful of days. So maybe like, either the tail end of that weekend or the following weekend.
Yeah, so I don't understand why we can't run this back.
We can do it. We can do it. I understand. And then we're not having the tier. The next one can only be like an hour.
We
long or
won't
something.
tier these again. This is set in stone. This is the Flick and Reel Taylor Swift tier list.
Yeah, I got to bring up YouTube and get a screenshot and share this so we
This
can.
is
get
it.
roasted.
This is what we got. This stream is not brought to you by Best Buy. Do not get that camera.
Yeah, don't get that.
Do not get the camera. It sucks. I have no idea. But No,
All right,
I'm happy
let's-
with this. This is
Let's
great.
do a round of where we can find people and we can do our send off. And thank you guys so much for being on here for this this pain.
I feel no pain, none.
Chris up top.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at the letter C, Anthony Lopez. So it's just take out the HRIS and it's my whole Twitter handle. But yeah, and subscribe to Flickr Reel if you already haven't. This is super fun. Like, and I know, like Jesse said, what 45-minute tier thing. You vastly similar to how I underestimated Swifties.
Yeah,
You underestimated how long we could talk.
I
about music.
underestimated these Swifties. I thought it was
Yes,
just
you
gonna be
did.
like, "What's your placement?" Boom, next, and everyone's like, "No, we're gonna go into a diatribe here."
We love. I mean, I didn't know how much I loved her music until I did the research for this. So yes, fun. But yeah, follow me on
Hey,
Twitter
Jacob knows all about fun in quotes.
and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Jesse. This is great.
Allison.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Allison Salamoni. You can find me here sometimes. You can find me sometimes hosting trivia matches over on Benny and Moose Save America YouTube channel. Subscribe to Flick and Reel. Please don't hate me for my thoughts on some of these.
You were great.
And yeah,
We're gonna call this the Lovermore conspiracy.
Oh, I'm gonna be pissed that everyone's
Yes, I love it. I didn't realize that my takes were going to be so hot on certain things. So, you know.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
All right, Taylor.
Yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Finally Tailored. Twitter, Letterboxd, Tumblr. You can find me on YouTube technically. I don't really do too much on there at the moment. But there are the old bracket shows Jesse was talking about where we go through and torture each other and like make a giant like Comic-Con movie bracket. So it's like
And then
the Marvel movies and like Alien, like all the Alien and Predator movies. And like it's just this huge bracket that took us like eight weeks, something like that. Like
8
12
weeks.
It took us a long time to do it.
Holy
And
shit!
the last episode is like a bunch of us physically together in California doing a live bracket show for like the last handful of movies.
did you ever think that you were gonna get Jonah Hex versus Superman Returns? Well, tune in to that show.
Yeah, Jonah Hex versus Superman Returns was a conversation.
Oh,
But anyway, everyone should go check that out because it was really intense. We all like burned our friendships to the ground.
Not 8
20
weeks.
weeks. I'm
Not 8
sorry.
weeks.
20.
20?
Jacob put 20 weeks, Jacob just said. So there are a bunch of episodes of that.
5 months?
Yeah.
And then there's also Scooby Doo watch along. I think
Yeah, we
What?
did.
that Chris missed out on.
Yeah. But
Next time.
Next time.
anyway, you can pretty much find me everywhere on the internet. And we'll have to get the gang together and do another giant bracket thing
Hey,
together.
it's already
So-
ready. You guys give me the time, and we don't have to do a bracket thing. I got trivia. I got images from music videos. We got so many fun games. It'll be a lot of fun.
Sweet.
We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
All right, guys. Well, until next time, I'm here and on Twitter at Jesse Swift, really easy, and usually playing Mortal Kombat. So if you have a PlayStation, hit me up until it's crossplay. All right, guys. Bye bye for now. Keep it real.
It's Swift.